Go. Hello, welcome all you beautiful people, and thank you for
Hi.
clicking on this video. We are finally here. So for
Yeah.
you guys who are watching, sorry for the delay. We had some technical issues, but anyways, we're here.
We're here.
now.
In the BatLoop. Got my friend Lucas over here from Adventures by Ables and his wife down below. And we have a guest, surprise guest that he was here last week if you guys caught the show, Justin. Dun, dun. All right, so there will be all four of us, you guys. We are going to be talking about Justice League. Before we get into that, if you guys can just hit that like button, we really appreciate it.
Yes,
it
we
really
would.
help out the channels. You know, we would love you guys even more for that. And if you know anyone that wants to know about, you know, the Justice League Snyder Cut, if it's good, if they're into DC, if they're just into just, you know, movies, great movies in general, send the link, share the link, you know, on Facebook, Twitter, whatever you can, so we can get more people in and get everyone, you know, kind of
Everyone needs to know about this movie. Everyone needs to know about it.
Yeah.
But all right, you guys. So, I usually start off with theme park news. I guess the one that I have for you guys before we, you know, kind of give people a few minutes to kind of come in. Anyone that has gone to Universal Studios and you have purchased like the Dippin' Dots or gone to like the Dippin' Dots little cart, they have officially canceled on Universal's canceled Dippin' Dots. So there's not going to be any more Dippin' Dots in the theme park. So if you love Dippin' Dots, if you've gone to Universal Studios, Orlando, or Hollywood, there will not be any Dippin' Dots. So
sad day for Dippin' Dots fans.
Yeah, and
last time I've had Dippin' Dots.
Yeah. So, and on other news, Disneyland has an official date, you guys. Because before everything was kind of speculating on April, or I guess not April Fool's, but April 1st, and people were like, "Oh, this is probably like an April Fool's kind of thing," and then they were saying that it was going to be later on in April, and so it is now opening. Let me pull up the date for you guys. It is April. I think it was 29th.
30th, I think.
Is it 30th? Yeah.
I think both.
I just want to make sure because they've changed the date so much. I want to make sure
They have,
and
they changed the like prerequisites as well.
Yeah.
Like at first it was everybody, and then it became nobody, and then it became now it's just California locals. No one from out of state, no one from out of like can go there. So if me and Carla wanted to plan to go do a Disney trip in Disneyland, we can't do it.
Yeah, it's only for the California residents. So,
yeah.
But other than that, you guys, that is the news for the week that we have for you. So let's get into the topic that everyone
let's go.
So excited for.
I've been sitting on this for like 4 days. Let's go.
Zack Snyder's Justice League. If you guys have watched it, let us know in the comments below your thoughts, everything, whether the good, the bad, what you were interested in, what you weren't interested in. If you think Superman was the only best thing in the movie, Carla,
Yes.
or if everything else overall was great.
No.
But, and as you guys kind of trickle into the comments, don't be shy to say hi because I would love to, say hi to you guys. But yeah, I know Katrina's here.
Hi, Katrina.
Appreciate you. You're the best.
Yeah, we are finally live, Katrina. Finally. Just took a second. Just took a second. A little bit longer than a second.
And then one of my good friends, Giselle, she is here. She's a great supporter of my channel.
Hi, Giselle.
Hello.
she is the best. She has a YouTube channel.
Oh, cool.
Like I said, if I find out or I know you guys, are YouTube content creators, I try to promote so that everyone should know, your channel and everything like that. And so, I know I have my mods, which is Katrina. If you can get her link and put it in the chat so people can kind of subscribe to her channel. She's a sonographer, if you know what that is. Kind of like people that do what do you call them when they're like checking for like pregnancy tests? Oh, not pregnancy tests.
Sonograms.
Oh, so yeah. I was having a brain fart there.
And with the medical facts, let's go.
We've been dealing with it tonight, so yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of been a long night. So, anyways.
Yeah, we can tell.
Anyways, I got Chris and Scott's here. Colorado Adventures. Hi, you guys. Thank you.
Hey, guys.
Hey, hi.
Yeah, and
hello.
Welcome. Her home theme park of Disney is Disneyland, so she's excited
for that. Makes sense.
But she doesn't live in California, so I guess you can't really go until they open it up fully. So
that sucks.
But yeah, you guys. So Justice League, we are here. It came out. It is official. It is a masterpiece, and it is. I mean, it's beautiful. And we'll get into what Joss Whedon had, did to this film. We will get into comparison of what, which one was the better version. I think we can all probably agree, and anyone that's watching, if you've seen the movie, that is the better one. It is a 4-hour movie. So if you have not watched the movie yet, or if you have watched it, let me know what you thought of it being 4 hours. For me personally,
move over, Scorsese, with your long movies.
You're so right.
Here's the thing about the 4 hour. It didn't feel like 4 hours for me. And what I love about what I do love about the what Zack Snyder did was the chapter cuts, the chapter breaks, or however you want to. He gave you a chance to, when a new chapter was going to introduce, the introduction of a new chapter, you can pause it and be like, you know what, this is where I'm going to start or end, or take a break and come back. So I really, really love that Zack Snyder implemented that. I kind of want to get your guys' thoughts. What did you think about the little chapter breaks? Instead of doing a mini, what was like a 4 or 5 mini little series show, and doing it like this.
The chapters made me think I was watching a TV show at first, but then I kind of stopped paying attention to it and realized I was watching, 4-hour-long Zack Snyder's Justice League. So,
yeah.
I did like that they do that that he did that because he gave you a chance to like pause and take a break, which I guess we should mention that me and Lucas went to Justin's house and we watched it all together, and we did take a break. We took like
one or
2
two
breaks.
We did.
But we took a long break.
Understandable with this movie.
Long
movie.
I highly recommend you do take a break because even though it's 4 hours and it didn't feel like 4 hours, it's good to like get up, get some coffee, which is what we did.
Exactly.
Yeah, we took a break during the middle,
like exact middle of the movie, essentially. Maybe 15 minutes off, but it was almost the exact middle of the movie.
10 till the middle. And the chapters, to me, I forgot about them after a while. Like the first one, I was like, it was like, don't count on it, Batman. But then that one didn't end in a place that I thought it would have ended, and then I missed the second title for the chapter, and I was like, "What? Are we in chapter 2 already?" And they were like, yeah. And I was like, "Okay." It just felt like a movie to me. It didn't feel like a TV show at all.
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree. And for example, I mean, you're seeing there that Zack Snyder putting that in this movie gives people a chance because he understands it's a 4-hour-long movie, even though we all can agree. It did not feel like 4 hours. It's crazy because I actually had to take a break because I wasn't feeling good, so I ended up continuing it into the next day. But even in the next day, I had the first night, I think I watched about almost 3 hours, and it didn't feel like it was 3 hours. And then the rest the next day, and I was blown away because I was like, man, this movie, I think it was just the pacing, the storytelling. and just so much was going on that it didn't feel like you're just like, is it over yet? Is it over yet? And we'll get into it. And I mean, I'm not saying he should put out more 4-hour movies. I mean, in this time, what we're going through, it's acceptable. You can do it because of the home release of HBO Max.
Exactly.
More.
I think ensemble character superhero movies deserve to be 4 hours long, personally. After seeing what you could do with a 4-hour time slot, if you give me like any characters that are comic book oriented that are like ensemble casts, 4 hours long, that is a perfect time. Perfect time. Break the mold. Move forward.
That's the perfect time for us who are like, kind of nerds into like, we love the superhero, and then I feel like that you can tell so much if you they have so much to tell that if you cut it into a 2-hour, 2.5-hour movie, you're taking out a lot of the good stuff.
Almost 100 years of comics. Yeah,
exactly. Katrina brought up that she couldn't get into it because she'd never seen Batman v Superman. So if you haven't not seen Batman v Superman or Man of Steel, you're kind of gonna get left out, and it's gonna be maybe a little confusing because you're gonna be like, "Yo, what's going on here?
Exactly.
What is this?
This is not a standalone movie.
It's not a standalone movie.
It's not, because there's even callbacks to Man of Steel in this movie, which I didn't expect him to do. I thought he just expected to, be a sequel to BVS. Dawn of Justice. I thought it was what's going to be with his interpretation, but there's a scene in this movie where it's directly related to Man of Steel, directly related to what happens in Man of Steel. Hi there.
You don't need to watch any. You don't need to watch any of the movies except Man of Steel and BVS, Batman vs Superman.
Pretty much.
Maybe Suicide Squad, and we'll get to that later. There's a tiny reason for maybe 5 minutes of the movie you may have wanted to see Suicide Squad, but they're I just don't recommend that movie in general, but that's
so about being 4 hours long. I don't want any movie to be 4 hours long because that is a long time of your day. But this is a movie that it needed to be redone so badly, and so many people wanted a new movie, basically, which is what we got. So many fans wanted it, and so many people wanted it that I get that they made it that long, even though it didn't feel that long. Guys, 4 hours is a pretty long time.
Did any of you guys like the first one at all? Period. At baseline,
I was okay with it. I was
okay.
No, I can honestly say I watched that movie and I wanted to walk out of the movie theater and I lost interest in it halfway through.
Complete failure to Lucas.
Yes.
Okay. I would have given it like a 70, like bare minimum passing.
No. 30 or lower. 30 or lower.
Fire.
The only thing that even like grasps my attention for that movie is Superman coming back alive and seeing him fight the Justice League members that were around. This is a spoiler movie. Well, this is from 2017. This is what I'm talking about, not one from 2021. Exactly. But the scene where he comes back, like it was cool, but you can't make up a whole movie off of one cool scene. Like it's not possible.
Yeah.
No. I felt, I don't know, I was okay with it. It was the 2017 one, it was just kind of like, well, like I was kind of being more understanding because I was like, Zack Snyder was in the picture, his daughter died, Josh Whedon came in, Warner Brothers messing around. I was like, could have been worse. But then when you have this movie came out, it really it showed how bad the 2017 version was. Like this one's not like 100, it's not perfect, but it's a whole lot better.
Yeah, because it continues the idea of what Zack Snyder was doing, whereas Josh Whedon was making a whole new concept. Now, if you had given Josh Whedon another character to do or another movie to do, and he had the whole movie to himself, I'm sure it could have been good. I didn't.
I wasn't asking when I saw how bad Justice League was. I didn't necessarily need this movie to be redone at the time. I just wanted more movies to come out to kind of redeem it and be better. And we kind of debatably have not gotten that. So now that we've had a chance to revisit this movie, I never asked for. I wasn't one of the people screaming for it. Very satisfied.
Yeah,
I was sorry.
No, I was just gonna say that
I was definitely one of the people screaming for this movie, though.
Yeah, this is the
I
perfect,
was, yeah.
Yeah, this is the perfect example of how us as fans, if we just stand up and demand something, I mean, there was a lot of us.
When you wish upon a star.
I just feel
makes
like
sense because Alex is in Disney right now.
I feel like yeah, I know, right? For those who did not know, yeah, I'm in a Disney resort. But anyway, for those I think a lot of us have watched that version, and when we were hearing that there was a Snyder Cut version that Warner Brothers kind of threw out, we were just kind of like, this movie probably would have been, yeah, why? This movie could have been good. So we all demanded for it, we got it, and I think we're all satisfied with our bellies full and unbuttoned, like it's just, it was a good
I'm not
film.
satisfied.
So, yeah,
I'm not satisfied. I want more.
You want more?
More.
Well, more will be restoring the Snyderverse, but we'll get into that later. But
hashtag restore to Snyderverse.
But talking about for those who are watching, and if you don't care about spoilers, we're going to get into spoilers. But talking about comparing it from the old, one of the things I want to bring up is your thoughts about Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf in the 2017 version, if you guys have seen it, or if you guys just go online, if you want to look at pictures, if you look at the Steppenwolf in 2017 compared to Zack Snyder, a huge difference. He looks a lot better. He has armor. It's kind of hard to kind of describe like how puny and just laughable Joss Whedon's Steppenwolf was.
He went from a PlayStation 1 sub boss to a PlayStation 5 main boss.
I don't think
that's what he went to.
I'm gonna let Carla talk her thoughts, but I'll add a little more nuance.
I don't have really a lot to say. Did it look better than the first one? Yes, but I think he looks stupid, and his voice, oh my god. And I know Justin and Lucas, I'm sorry, you already heard me complain, but his voice was so annoying. It was like so like superhero-ish kind of. His voice, I hate it.
He sounded like antagonist, yeah. I agree.
The way he looks, it didn't tell me anything. It didn't feel scary to me. Lucas kept telling me, "Oh my god, it's so much better than the first one," and I'm like, "It's really not." But that's my opinion. I don't care about the character. His voice was really annoying. Every time he came on the screen, I was just like, was I not?
Really?
But anyways, I know a lot of people were happier with the way he looked on this movie.
100% happy.
Including you, but
I was
you
ecstatic.
disagree a lot.
Yeah, we do. But it's all right.
Yeah.
All right, Justin.
My biggest complaint of the Justice League was Steppenwolf. It was not beyond all the other complaints I had about that movie. I thought Steppenwolf was very, very forgettable, very generic. And the problem I had with that, I think, stems from the fact of the actor choice. And I looked him up. I know the actor. I didn't know it was him when we were watching it, but I know him. His name is Ciaran Hinds. He's never really major anything. I haven't seen Frozen in a long time, but he played the Troll King in Frozen. Really?
I can hear the voice now. Yeah, I can. Okay.
But he also played, I think he played the devil in Ghost Rider 2, like the crappy Ghost Rider.
So he played Mephisto?
He played no, I don't know.
Or
but he was in Game of Thrones. He's in a lot of small roles, and he's always good, and he's a great actor. He doesn't have any kind of presence. Like when you're getting a villain, the actor choice for the villain is way more important a lot of times than the superheroes. And so, like, give me like a Christoph Waltz or a Michael Madsen or like a Hugo Weaving, even like Sean Bean. Let him be like, he's been a good villain. Like, bring him back. He gets to die. So
who is that?
It's a little meta. He's in a lot of stuff. He dies in almost every movie he's in it. But just give me like Mark Strong. Give me someone. Like the guy who played Voldemort, Ralph Fiennes, like give me someone who's really scary and menacing. But that being said, they're not going to switch the actor out for the new movie. The armor looks better. his animations on his face look really crisp and pristine. They gave him way more character development in this one.
That's what I want to talk about.
That was satisfactory, but it didn't make me like him. I do not care for Steppenwolf. I do not.
It gave me a feeling. It made me feel some kind of way when he was talking to Desaad the whole time. Desaad was the real villain in this movie, not Darkseid, not Steppenwolf. Desaad was just like, "You can't come home, man. You ain't coming home. 10,000 worlds. Let's go."
I feel like he's very forgettable. Like all the villains are, other than Darkseid's look and presence. Right, Chef Kiss.
All hail Lord Darkseid. All hail Lord Darkseid. Later.
We're on Steppenwolf. I feel completely let down, and it's not something I needed because I knew that they weren't going to recast him, and it was just like,
Yeah.
So he's not a satisfying villain to me, but that's fine. It doesn't bring the movie down by any means.
No.
Alex.
So my thoughts about Steppenwolf, I actually, here's the thing. When I saw the 2017 version, I was okay with that voice. But then when I got to hear the new developed voice, it was better. It was, I don't know, it sounded more like a villain. It sounded like, if you're going to be this powerful villain, I don't know, it just fit with how he looked. And I was just like, that's a little terrifying.
I agree with you.
He looked scarier, but I never, because of the actor, I just never felt scared when he was.
So Kristen Scott said Steppenwolf's design was much more imposing than the 2017 version, and they liked how they tweaked his voice for the Snyder version. And I agree
with that 100%.
Definitely improved.
It was from the armor and the voice, and I know Carla didn't really like the voice, but I think the voice just sounded. I mean, the way he was talking, especially when he was talking to, like when he was just mentioning like this world's gonna fall, or when he met the whatchamacallit, I'm so tired, you guys. I'm like having brain fart.
Desaad?
Not Desaad. The Amazonians. When he went to the Amazonians and he told
Hippolyta?
Yeah, he was like, that he was bringing up like, you guys are gonna, bathe in my fear. I'm gonna bathe in your fear.
And then they respond, Amazon, your fear.
And just the way he sounded, I mean, it was just really good,
And then he never retained that throughout for me, because that one, when he first appears, it was like, oh, cool.
Hey,
and
Jose.
Then it's just
Hi, Jose.
Jose.
I mean, we're gonna have our opinions, So like, I just comparing it to the 2017 one, he just not just looks, but the voice, he sounded better. Steppenwolf sounded better in this movie. And he fit, when Desaad and Darkseid were talking, he just fit in that realm of their voices, like just kind of like they're from another
big
planet,
big booming otherworldly voices.
They were all conforming. But did Lucas and Alex, did y'all have a idea in your head from reading the books about Steppenwolf that this lived up to?
So I was waiting until everyone got done talking because I have a lot to talk about Steppenwolf. So I was waiting until everyone was done. So that was actually something I was going to bring up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you done, Alex?
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
I liked it.
Yeah. So starting off with the 2017 version, I know what Steppenwolf looks like in the comic books, and he doesn't look like that in either one of these films. Same way as him in the animated universe that created by Bruce Timm and Kevin Conroy's Batman and everything. Doesn't look like anything from them. Is a completely new idea that Zack Snyder came up with. Would the comic book version of Steppenwolf and all the New Gods work into a live action movie? Probably not. No. So I'm glad what the choices they chose, but not for 2017. The 2017 version did not need to be made. That is a terrible atrocity of computer animation.
Look the same.
It doesn't though. So in the Zack Snyder cut, his armor is like alive. It ripples when he's feeling something. When he's angry, the spikes jut out. He's ready for attacking. He's ready to fight. But when he's submissive, when he's wanting to give into his feelings, his armor recedes. It's going away. At one point when he's bending down the dark side, trying to tell him like, master, uncle, nephew, let me come home. His armor's almost off because he's revealing himself and feeling vulnerable. So the fact that they used these little like nuances of these little details were shown in the animation, I was blown away by that. And then when it came to the voice acting, he was intimidating. When he was fighting somebody he thought he could beat, he was intimidating. But then when he was talking to Desaad, he was trying to talk to him as an equal, but also as someone he knew he had to like impress, because Desaad was basically the gatekeeper of the dark side. But then when Darkseid was on the screen, he was, for the lack of a better term, like a wimp. Because he was like, this man who's my nephew, who is stronger than me, is the reason why I am not home. I betrayed him. I have to come home. I need to make sure that he knows that I will never do this again. And I could hear that through his
nephew.
Yes, he is.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's
family drama.
It is. It's a huge family drama. So the fact that there's a lot more to the character in this movie blew me away. So the first thing he doesn't talk about is mother boxes. The whole 2017 movie, he's talking about the mother boxes as they're like his praise jewels. It's like Gollum in the One Ring to him. Like there's not any explanation. That's his whole drive, is to just get the mother boxes. And I'm sitting there like watching that movie, and I'm like, what? That's not what mother boxes are for. They're not like these possessed items.
Right. They fleshed him out so much more.
So the fact that he was finding the mother boxes to come back to Darkseid, and it made me thinking, like, what did he do so bad that Darkseid was like, get the hell off my planet? His own flesh and blood, where he's like, you don't belong here. And he even says, he's like, I was wrong. I tried to right my wrongs. I was trying to kill the people that were trying to take the throne from you. So what did he do? I wanted to know. I was like, and then I could feel it in the actor's voice when he was saying, even though like the bass was different because they made it otherworldly sounding. That's why I liked it as well, because it didn't sound like he was from Earth.
Yeah,
he sounded like he was from another world.
Exactly.
In my theater, if Alex, you have a point, go ahead.
So it sounded bigger than life.
Yeah, in my theater, the thing, we had the volume up really loud, and the bass was activated the most whenever Steppenwolf would talk,
exactly,
which felt like to me a cop out, because they tweaked the voice to make him sound more menacing, but it was like you can't, again, the actor is still limited even if you crank the bass up. So it did have an effect. It was better, but it was also like
I didn't see the voice as a bass thing just to sound menacing. I thought the voice thing is him making him seem like he was a god, which is essentially everybody from Apocalypse is what is considered a new god within the DC canon. They are gods. They're these otherworldly beings who are essentially omnipotent and deities. So they shouldn't sound like that. He sounded like he belongs within that like pantheon of gods. And I loved it. And the showcasing of his powers, he tossed the Amazons like they were rag dolls. He beat Atlanteans off like they were little fish sticks. He walked through the Justice League. The only person he could have walked through is Superman, which makes sense because Superman is designed to be not being able to be beaten.
Mm-hmm.
But all the other Justice League members, he turned them into paper. I loved it.
You know, and then just kind of like adding to what Lucas was saying, like, you know, that's what I do love about Steppenwolf. He doesn't sound like he's from Earth. And you're bringing up, Justin, like the speakers and the bass, like it should sound like for him to be from a different planet and to talk, it should be powerful to where like things are shaking. And so that voice compared to the 2017 is better. And so
kind of reminds me of Optimus Prime from the first Transformers.
Yes, thank you. I was trying to figure out where I could feel that voice from. It definitely sounds like Optimus Prime.
Mm-hmm.
Just a Transformer in general, which if you think about it, exactly. But if you think about it, if you saw a Transformer in real life and you looked up, you would hear that big booming, overbearing voice because of the size of them. Now, if you saw Steppenwolf in real life, he would sound like that because he's essentially a deity, a killable deity, nonetheless, but a deity.
Yeah. And then kind of talking about like the comparison of Steppenwolf, there is a scene that I have. We'll get into like the reshoots and comparing it to the old and stuff, but here's Steppenwolf.
Oh, geez,
put it away. Put it away. Put it back in the box where it crawled out of.
For you guys who are watching, you have not seen the 2017 version. This is Steppenwolf.
He kind of looks like Elon Musk.
Yeah, and this is what he looks like. And then if you and then as I play this clip, you'll see you're gonna see the difference between the Steppenwolf in 2017 version and Zack Snyder's masterpiece. So I'm gonna play this, and you guys can kind of see. I mean, the visuals and just there's not gonna be any voice. I mean, because I have to do copyright and stuff. But this is what he looks like, and this scene was from the 2017. Now
That's so bad looking.
and here's the Zack Snyder's, and I wish you
looks
guys
more
can hear
monstrous.
how he talks. But everything just looks. I mean,
Like
it's just,
the fight scene looks so much more fluid
the
than
fight
it
scene
is.
more. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I never argued that it wasn't an improvement. It's certainly an improvement. But now I know how much because you're showing me how awful he looks.
But, I mean, look at this compared to what he did. Yeah, I mean, it's just that scene right there because we're gonna talk about scenes that got reshot. That was better. I mean, that was supposed to be, I guess, originally what Zack Snyder's, and so I mean, even
Zack Snyder went. Yeah, sorry.
no, I was gonna say even this part. I mean, she's just like, this scene right here. He realized that she was an Amazon, but he was just like, you're different. He said, you. I
You're
don't know if he said
different. You smell like the gods. You smell like the old
the
gods.
new god. Yeah, so he knows Wonder Woman has some of the god bloods in her.
She's the daughter of Zeus. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's still not scared of her. That tells you the power of this man. Is he's only scared of Kryptonians. He's only scared of a Kryptonian.
Carla, do you think can you see how better it is now? Do you agree with that?
I mean, it looks better, but I just don't feel any type of way about this character to even care about the way he looks. Like, I don't care. That's the best way to put it. I don't care about him.
I think we deserved a little bit better. I think we got a little bit better. It is a lot better now looking at it to compare.
His face is really stupid looking. Like his face.
Okay, so I actually agree with Carla. Okay, so
like
in the comics,
looks like a half dog, half.
So
I don't know.
with comic book knowledge, which I definitely probably out of all four of us, I have the most of.
Yeah,
Steppenwolf and the New Gods are very human looking. Like they have human attributes. They're not bestial. Whereas Zack Snyder has definitely made the New Gods look more bestial. Mm-hmm. Am I with that? Sure. Different universe, different looks. I'm okay with it. Mm-hmm. Would I have made that choice myself? For Steppenwolf, when the armor recedes and the armor doesn't go down and it's actually, he has like hammerhead shark horns underneath, mm-hmm. I'm a little weirded out by it, but I accepted it. I wasn't against it. I accepted it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like I said, I like it. I mean, and you're right, because you're gonna have more of the comic book part of it down. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess if at the end of the day you could do a little better, but I mean, to me, if I'm just like not even looking, if I was a someone in the audience who doesn't really care for the comics or it doesn't, I'm not gonna have the time to look at it and see what the accuracy and just see him as a villain, I'm okay with how he looks, his voice, his face. So
yeah, because he's not the do all or end all villain, especially knowing that Darkseid's looming out there in the distance. So like I knew if you're a basic moviegoer is gonna know he's gonna be thrown away.
Yeah.
With the original plan for Justice League to be in 2 parts, before Snyder had to leave the original cut, do you think the plan was to have Darkseid in the second part, or do you think this movie is basically both parts?
Zack Snyder had a 3-part plan, actually, a 3-movie plan. Yeah.
And do you still think this is part 1? This whole movie?
Yes, this was definitely part 1. Okay. This was part 1. Darkseid was like a Thanos level threat, if not bigger. Yeah. Like, I have to compare it to something where everyone can know what we're talking about. Darkseid is basically Thanos for the first 3 phases of Marvel, but at the same time, he was using the Justice League movies as a huge way of propelling the universe. Whereas,
if you're going to bring that comparison in to get kind of Carla and I a little bit, because we're the Marvel people, I guess, in this chat. Mm-hmm. If you do have a looming threat, that doesn't mean that the first henchman threat can't be well established, likable, and feel very present when they're on screen, which is what Loki, like, this is kind of the Steppenwolf has the function of Loki to Thanos that he has to Darkseid in this movie. So
yeah,
I would say Loki, and I'm not trying to. I didn't want to compare the two, but since you brought it up, it's like it's not even close. Like Loki is so much more memorable. At the end of the day, I'm going to remember Steppenwolf a little bit better because I understand his motivations. I like the way he looks a lot better. He's got really awesome fight scenes now that we were kind of lacking in the first one, and we've kind of talked about him a lot more. But I'm not going to smile when I think about him like, oh, he was cool. You know, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to hit the same way. But anyway, moving on.
But I mean, I think at the end of the day, I think Steppenwolf wasn't supposed to be the villain that you, like you said, you could sit there and think about and be like, I think he was supposed to just be the introduction because like Lucas and I said, it was a 3-part thing. So he was supposed to be like the introduction of trying to get Darkseid, kind of, you know. So
I guess you could compare him more to Ebony Maw.
No, I would compare.
Yeah,
I would compare him more to Ronan the Accuser in Guardians. Sorry, if we had to.
That makes better sense. That makes better
because Ronan the Accuser was definitely someone who was.
Ronan.
He is better than Ronan, but comparing him to Ronan the Accuser, who was also he's kind of like a herald of Thanos that went rogue. So or Steppenwolf was the general of Darkseid's army that clearly betrayed Darkseid somehow somewhere down the road.
Okay.
So it's generally the same concept.
Right.
Both of them were throwaway. They're not throwaway villains, but they were a way to segue you into like the bigger picture.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
All right. So enough of him.
All right. So now we'll get into favorite like reshot scenes or scenes that you can compare that were in the 2017 and it was brought in the Snyder. Well, I mean, I don't know if it was originally Snyder's and Josh Whedon kind of tweaked it on his own, and then Zack Snyder was like, "Oh no, we're gonna bring this back, and then I'm gonna tweak it a little bit better."
Yeah.
One of them was that scene that I brought up was just that him Steppenwolf fighting Wonder Woman. The other one. If you here's something that I forgot about. I don't know if this will have sound. This might have sound. So this scene right here, you guys who are watching, this is from spoilers. This is from Batman v Superman, and this is where Superman's giving out his final breath, and he's in the sound waves are kind of just. I mean, if you pay attention to the clip, it's just kind of like it's bouncing off, and in the movie. It's just going through all the different cities, and it's even reaching out to the oceans and even to the Amazon. Like that's how far it reached out. And what I love about this opening scene compared to Josh Whedon, because Josh Whedon was a kid with a cell phone doing an interview to Superman, was like, asking him a bunch of questions, and then everyone's talking about, how Henry had the mustache thing and he had to kind of cover it up. But yeah, because in that movie I was okay with it, but it was weird, like how it started. I was just like, this is kind of weird. Like, this is how we're gonna start a big movie like this, like a phone interview of a kid asking, Superman, compared to this where it shows you why the mother boxes. For those who didn't know, there's the 3 boxes which we were describing. It's something that they were kept quiet and they didn't really have any life to them because they were still a threat on the planet Earth, which was Superman. But now with Superman, pretty much, this is what's happening with Superman. They were, coming to life. And so what I loved about this opening scene is that it showed you why they became activated, because, there was no more threat now. The last threat on Earth is no more. So I love this compared to the little cell phone. I don't have a video from it, but the cell phone thing. So I mean,
that had no place in any of this.
Question: you were saying reshot scenes. When I think reshot scenes, I'm thinking like the Themyscira like chase scene and how they reshot it with new graphics and additional scenes. This is a completely new scene. So are you considering that as like a part of our discussion on this? Or
yeah, that's part of it because it's
okay.
Yeah, whether it's a new scene, replacing a scene, or touching up, it's still reshot into something.
So new content overall.
Okay, so I just opened up a whole new plethora of things that
oh my Lanta. Hey, Giselle.
Yeah, you got to catch up on these movies, and they're all good, but you need to
You
catch
only
up
have to
because
watch. Sorry.
yeah, yeah, you have to watch these certain movies, but when you get to these movies and watch this movie, the Snyder Cut version of Justice League, you're going to be blown away in how they all connect, and it's just like I don't know, maybe it's a biased, answer coming from me because I'm all DC, but it just I don't know, it just the way it connects compared to like the Marvel world, it was just I don't know, it was mind blowing, and so I don't know, it's just it's better to me, but that's my opinion. But anyways, hey, we're this is what we are getting into like we're explaining scenes, so if you haven't watched it, you're really gonna
Yeah.
be completely lost. If you did watch it and you don't
Mhm.
understand certain scenes, we're
Yeah.
letting you know like because someone could watch this scene and be like, what's the significance of showing Superman yelling, well, obviously he's yelling because he's in agony and pain, but why the sound waves going throughout all of planet Earth, and why show that? And it's because of the mother boxes, because there's a
Laying
significant.
dormant the whole time
I think
Superman was on
he's-
the planet.
I think he's yelling because of how bad the Justice League was. That's why they're screaming.
Right.
I would
Maybe
yell.
that's why Zack Snyder put it in the beginning scene, like he's like, I felt this is what you guys were feeling, but let me do my thing and you're going to enjoy this movie.
It was a good opening scene.
It was crazy. It was ludicrous.
It was
Ludicrous.
intense. Hi,
I
Julie.
felt
Ludicrous.
Hey, Julie. I felt it. I felt that opening scene. So I agree. It's a pretty good opening scene.
Yeah,
Pretty
we
good
all
reunion
said
scene.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I can't use the words I want to use that I was screaming out of Justin's house on this stream, but I can definitely tell you there was a lot of choice words coming out of my mouth, how hyped I was.
Yeah, he was having nerd seizures.
I was like that all the time.
Doesn't take much.
Baby, what was
He was
your
like- he was like
what was
a
your
redneck
favorite
in a
scenes?
NASCAR race.
Baby, what was your favorite scenes or new scenes or reshot scenes?
I really like the scene where Superman comes back. Obviously, it's gonna be about Superman, I know, but I really like when he comes back, like with no shirt on, like that scene. I like that they added more to that fight when he's fighting them, because they did add, right?
Oh, they added yes. So
Yeah.
that the from the point where he headbutts Wonder Woman to the point where he's
Yes.
leaving the platform to go see
Mhm.
Batman, all that was added.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I did like
Yeah, I
that,
don't
and I
have to.
like that he didn't look so stupid with his freaking teeth. Didn't look stupid.
100%. That was all reshot. There wasn't no CGI on that one.
Yeah, I think that was one of my favorite scenes. Yeah, I think that was it, because I really like him being not your typical Superman saving the world, but he was not all there and he's fighting everybody.
Pissed.
I don't know. It's a cool scene.
Pissed. He was a Superman with an intent to kill. That's what he was.
Yeah, I like that scene a lot.
Lucas.
That scene still gets me, man.
Oh, with Flash.
The Flash.
The Flash.
Yeah.
For you guys who have not seen the movie, there is a scene, if you're okay with spoilers, there is a scene where Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Cyborg all come at Superman, and as that all happens, Barry Allen, which is the Flash, he slows down because he's starting to go into starting to move, and he's just moving at a very fast movement, but they're doing it in a slow motion. The camera's going in slow motion. He thinks Superman can't see him. Superman's too busy with these three, and then he's like, "Oh, I see you creeping up." And then Flash, because he was so focused, Flash was just like, he's just like, "I'm gonna get you. You're not gonna see me." And then he's just like,
"I'm sorry."
And then you see Superman throw Wonder Woman,
handle them all off.
But
as he's doing that, yeah.
To be fair, the Superman turning was also in the Justice League,
but it was different. It was different coloring of all the special effects. It was darker, and it made more sense for the movie, not the super reds and blues and pinks and
yeah. But the scene was there.
No, it was there. All right, so Justin, favorite scenes.
Okay, I was trying to rank them in order, but like the best scene. I'll just start with the best. The freaking end. The nightmare part 2 with all the characters right there. The greatest scene in the whole freaking movie. When you got Deathstroke, you got Mira. Everything is screwed. You got the Joker. You got Superman flying in, and look at him. Behold,
I know you were so
never
excited.
Gonna get.
We might.
I don't think we will, but I didn't think in a million years we were getting this movie. So if I keep saying we're never gonna get it, we'll probably get it. So I'm gonna keep saying, look at him. Look how awesome
he's seen some crap.
I love when they do that. That's so anime when it's like years later and everything is destroyed and everybody's like so. Anyway, but that absolutely. I loved everything we got with Alfred that we didn't get. I love Jeremy Irons as Alfred.
There he is.
And completely. We'll get to the question later that you were going to ask. But bringing it up a little prematurely, but it does count. That is my favorite scene in the movie. That was my most hype moment. The scene where Barry saves Iris, even though it really has no place being in the movie because she doesn't really come back. It's more of an Easter egg to fans. And I don't really like the context in which it happens because it's so like coincidental. And I don't really like it when movies do that. Yeah, that the whole time my jaw was on the floor. Lucas was there.
I know. I was like, yeah, man, I feel you. Wrong music choice, but I digress.
I was still in my look at it. I was still in my I wasn't overwhelmed by how long the movie was yet at this point to be like nerd seizuring like Lucas was throughout the whole movie. So it was kind of like the most congruent part of excitement. By the time we got to that end scene, I was tired and, let's get it over with. But it was still, that was my favorite scene. This was my most hype for me. I like the music, actually. It was pretty. Like it turned it, but it makes the scene not feel like it fits in everything else.
Yeah, it doesn't fit.
Yeah, but I still liked it.
Yeah.
Like
but it's also very Zack Snyder music choices too. He's always like really somber music for no reason.
The worst music was the freaking Icelandic people screaming for 6 hours. But I did like the fade away in the transition. But anyway, right? At least that's in the beginning.
Yeah.
But that was bad. And what else? The Wonder Woman scene in the beginning with her introduction, the extended.
That fight was so good.
I wanted to talk about that. I don't want to talk too long because I do that sometimes. But the scene where the guy's reloading, and rather than just be a superhero and disarm him and put him in jail, she decides to completely obliterate him by doing that and just kind of vaporizing him against the brick. They don't show that.
Yeah.
But they show the wall collapsing, threatening doing thousands of, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars of damage to take down one dude. It was way overkill. Didn't seem like it. And then the girl going, "Can I be like you one day?"
Yeah. So that's
you want to vaporize people into dust? Okay, yeah.
That's my biggest thing that was for this character Gal Gadot taking off because I still gotta say my favorite scenes, but just going into the Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman for this movie, I liked how she was a brutal Amazonian warrior. Yeah. She wasn't like, I do it for the power of love. No, she did it with the power of her sword and shield in her hand, and she made you realize it. Like she did not pull punches.
She used her sword so much more than
I loved it. I loved it. Too. It was very New 52 Diana. It was very very new 52 Wonder Woman, and I loved it all the way through.
But how long that intro scene was, they made it so much longer with the build up with the vans getting there. How they were like really starting to use the R rating with the dialogue and the bloods on the wall. And it was like, oh, this is different. This is really different that we're watching. And this is something new and tasty, and I like it. And they also got rid of the atrocious upskirt shots that Whedon did, which
hated it.
Why was that in the movie? So again, just focusing on her being cool, her new theme being introduced, the additions to her new theme, everything about that scene, one of the highlights in the movie for me.
It made that scene much better. Like because in the original one with Josh Whedon, I liked the scene. It was good. But then when you see what Snyder did, or I don't know if he added back to what it was supposed to be, it was better pacing because it was kind of like just came out of nowhere. Like these guys just showed up, and where this one kind of built up the cars, they're parking, and then getting in. They're walking up the stairs, shooting everybody, and it was just like I don't know. It flowed better.
They gave her the ending where she was talking to the crowd and telling them everything was okay. That wasn't in the original.
Yeah, no, that wasn't in there. That's Diana right there. And so just I mean everything. It was, and you know what I noticed too, like, kind of what you were bringing up, you guys about how she was, but like in that scene, she was a little bit more brutal with them. Like she was tossing them, like
beat them like redheaded stepchildren.
It was a little bit more aggressive, and I liked that. It was just like, ooh,
Yeah.
And so
she laid the law down. She laid the law down. She wasn't Wonder Woman 84 and she wasn't Wonder Woman from World War I, where she lightly tapped the Nazi and he kind of was like, no, she broke somebody is what she did. And I like that.
That was like Mortal Kombat Wonder Woman or Injustice
Wonder Woman.
I really love too with Alfred and her having a little cozy moment where she was making tea and Alfred's just like micromanaging, like
she's like, you're doing it wrong.
And then he's not used to that. He's always used to like
he's the
one.
Yeah, I'm the one that does everything. So like imagine always being the one that does everything, and then someone's doing what you usually do, and you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
That was my favorite character moment beyond. I wanted to also say everything with Victor Stone that we got that made him a good character. But I also don't like how they did where he pulls money out of the ATM to give to the family, showing that he still has heroic tendency. He still has emotions. He still feels for humanity.
Cyborg.
Yeah.
Oh.
Cyborg. And then immediately after, when they ask him to help save everybody, he's just like, no. So I was like, but I liked knowing who he was a lot more. Very cool.
So
anyway, that's all the added things I have. I talked too much about that.
So I mean, I got a couple scenes too. So we still got a little bit. So first scene I want to talk about is the Flash scene where instead of saving a random Russian family, they fail. Fail, and the world explodes. And to save the world, we get to see the Speed Force in full action. Barry's like, I gotta go faster. I gotta go faster than I've ever gone before. I can do this. Let's go. So then he picks up speed and he starts to go back in time, little by little. And while he's running back towards where the middle of the fight was, where the explosion happened, where it killed Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, everybody was destroyed because they did not get it there in time to destroy the death machine that the Steppenwolf was building to recreate Apocalypse on Earth. Barry brought it back by tapping into the Speed Force and going back in time, not saving some little Russian family. Made so much more sense. And then again, speaking of reshoots with the Flash, because I think I loved his character development the most. As I love Victor Stone and what they did with Victor Stone, and I love that he was an integral part of the movie. But the stuff they did with the Flash redeems that character so much, especially Ezra Miller's interpretation. So there's the scene where
disagree, but we'll get to that.
There's the scene where he's very hesitant. He's like, in 2017 Justice League, he's like, I don't know what to do. I just kind of like come out and I push people, kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And then Batman's just like, I'm a motivational speaker. Just save one. Save one. See, that wasn't in this movie. Flash already had he already knew that he could dabble in time, kind of. But he's like, do I do it? Do I not do it? He already knows how fast he can go, how fast he should go, and how to use his powers. So the moment I saw him save one person, I'm like, wait a second, what? And he's like, boom, 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 boom. And then there's no questions asked. I'm like, this is Barry Allen. He thinks with his head. He's not reserved. Like, this is Barry Allen as a character.
Well, it's established Barry Allen but at the same time,
it's newly established Barry Allen.
See, this is why, and I was going to get into this later, but the biggest detriment this movie has is it's trying to introduce Barry and Victor and Arthur, and we have barely gotten any Batman at this point. So it's having to do all this heavy lifting. And for a 4-hour movie, I thought Barry, we got to see really cool action scenes, but at the end of the day, I really don't know why he's doing any of this. I don't know, like, other than just because Bruce asked him to.
Because his dad, he's trying to find better reason. He's trying to save his dad, basically. And he's in the back of his head. I mean, even there's a part of the movie where he's talking about, he's like, I know I can go back in time, but I don't know if I should go back in time. Like, he doesn't know if he should dabble into Speed Force to go back in time and save his mom, which is the main point of Flash. The main plot of Flashpoint.
Adequate job explaining that.
I think there's enough dialogue to get understanding of Barry, like who Barry is, at least for this movie, to let you understand, like, he's thinking about going back in time to save his mom.
I disagree. I don't think he's a very established. I don't think he has a really good arc in this. But I think he looks cool, and I think a lot of the movie is that it looks really cool.
Exactly.
But it doesn't always. One of the things I was going to say, since we're on Barry, I don't think a lot of the characters had chemistry together with what they were saying. They just felt like they were exposition dumping a lot. There were certain times where they did, but Aquaman, there's a scene where Aquaman says something to the extent of, I don't trust Victor. He's a computer. And then they just never touch on that again, and they move on. So,
I mean, there was the forming of the League isn't, I'm going to take it the Avengers too. Because the forming of the Avengers, they kind of had this understanding of each other because they all knew they existed in the world, right? So they kind of knew what they were getting into when they were all brought together. The League members don't know each other. Yeah. They don't know each other. So there's going to be unrest. There's going to be distestment. There's going to be like a trust bonding within becoming together. Yeah. So they have to learn to understand themselves as a team. But the only thing that brought them together was the fact that they knew Superman had to be there because he's Alex, the only thing.
Yeah.
Yes, Alex.
I was just gonna, like what Lucas is saying, it leads back to Batman v Superman. Like, Batman was like, I don't trust him. And, like, it goes back when they were, Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent. He was being the reporter. He was like doing research on Batman. He's like, I don't like that he's branding these people. Who's this Batman? Everyone's afraid of him. And then here's Bruce Wayne. Oh man, even as Batman, he was just like, who's this? I don't, this creature, this being. He can demolish us. He can destroy us. So, like what Lucas was saying, there
was a chemistry between Batman and Superman in that movie, but Batman became. Through the movie, he got a better understanding of what was going on. He realized we need the Superman. And at the end of the movie, he realizes that during the funeral scene.
I'm not talking. I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying, though, because you're talking.
I don't like. It's the chemistry of the characters together. I don't want them
when
they're
talking.
I don't want them to be talking together like they're okay with each other.
You don't have to talk with chemistry. Doesn't mean you're liking each other. It just means that the way they're talking makes sense on screen. Captain America and Iron Man did not get along at first, but they were going at it in a way that was natural and made sense for all those characters. But when the League is talking together, they're literally just talking about the mission, and the lines given to a lot of them could have been given to any of them. So it's more of like when Aquaman randomly starts questioning. Yeah, it's fine that he didn't trust them, but it just came out of nowhere, and they don't explore that. They just drop it and move on. They don't have a scene where Aquaman is glaring at Victor later on, and then Victor has to prove himself to Aquaman or the rest of the team. He just immediately does it, and then they move on. I'm not trying to hate on the movie. It's a pretty movie.
Yeah.
It's great.
You bring up an interesting point, but I feel like for example, you bringing up Arthur saying like, I don't trust Cyborg because
he's a mother box.
He's a mother box pretty much. Mm-hmm. But I don't think this movie needed to kind of touch base or him or Cyborg to prove himself.
Then don't say that line. Don't say the line. Just don't bring that up and just move on. If you're not going to pay it off later on, don't have Aquaman bring up that he doesn't trust him if it's not going to come back later.
I mean, I
pay
guess
off.
technically at the end of the day, it does kind of come back because Cyborg did what he did.
And we also don't know what's going to happen with these characters either.
Because I don't trust you. Where were you when we were getting our asses handed to us? And then the wave came, and you showed up randomly at the end of it. So they just have it. That's all you got to do. That's just character building between quick dialogue. I felt it was missing that, and that's all I'm saying. You don't have to like defend it.
You're good. I was just responding with like what we thought too.
Right.
And then so let's go back on topic of scenes, because there's also the nightmare scene that Cyborg has where it shows Darkseid obliterating everybody.
Those laser eyes.
He burns through Atlanteans. He stabs Aquaman. He completely wrecks house on people.
Ooh.
Just the and then the fadeaway scene where it's Superman holding Batman's cowl. Kilowog's dead in front of him. One of the main Green Lanterns. He's dead in front of him. That means the Lanterns tried to intervene and they could not save the world. That is great, like bigger picture storytelling to me. And then this is a complete reshot scene, is when instead of using Steppenwolf to fight the old gods, it was Darkseid as Uxas before he gets the Omega Sanction. That's why he couldn't beat the Defenders of Earth and the old gods and the Green Lantern that was helping them, because he wasn't Darkseid yet. We got to see him before he became the powerhouse he is. And we saw like why he was able to lose. But we also saw the sheer might of what he was before he gets the Omega Sanction, which is terrifying, world breaking with just one spear drop. And this, like the whole action set pieces that happened during the fight with the old gods as well, it blew me away. And the refight with Superman too, with Steppenwolf. Instead of him coming out and being jokey, like with him, he just shows up, he gets hit with the axe, and he's just like shattered. And then the complete obliteration of Steppenwolf by the hands of Superman, where it's punch, punch, lasers, punch, punch, lasers, punch, punch, lasers. Every blow you saw, I felt. And then when you're having the discussion, very Kratos. And then he's still beating him down in the background while there's a discussion of characters in the foreground. And you're just watching in the background, you still see laser beams, lights, punch, punch, lights, punch, punch, lights. And I'm like, oh, I feel that. Steppenwolf just wants to go home, and you're not letting him go home, Clark. Let him go home.
Not impressed.
Ooh. That was hype.
It was.
Yeah, so that's what Lucas was talking about. No, let's go more.
What did we think of the black suit? God, love it, every bit of it. Yeah, that's what Steppenwolf likes to do.
Here it comes, boom!
Just the power.
I felt every one of those hits.
Yeah,
that really made good use of the base. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what Lucas was talking about. For those
really good showcase of what happens when a Kryptonian fights someone who isn't on the same power level as another Kryptonian. Especially someone who used the black suit to just gain all the power of the sun and then fly in for the kill.
The black suit, speaking of, I thought it was cool looking, but they didn't explain why he wore it, which is
that was my beef. That was my beef. That was a big beef to be
It would have helped, but then also nobody anywhere ever looked at him and acknowledged that he was wearing another suit, which you would think at least Batman would be like.
That is true.
So you came in black, huh? At 2 also, or something like that, and Superman would be like, "You rubbed off on me," or something like that. Like even just the way they handled it makes it very obvious that it was in post-production retouched, that it wasn't something that
it was for the
fans.
It
feels like a stamp. It feels like you're playing a video game and you unlock a suit that doesn't make sense in the earlier part, and then you replay the video
It
game
does.
with that
Okay.
suit on, and it's like you can't have that suit yet. But it's just it's cool looking. That's why I say this is a very pretty movie, and I think it's made more for fans because Lucas is a fan. He knows what the purpose is, and maybe Alex as well. You might know what the purpose of that black suit is, but me as a casual viewer who likes superheroes but didn't read all the DC comics, I don't know what they're doing. They didn't tell me.
I'll agree with that because there's, for example, I feel like, and I think Lucas and I were talking about this, like Zack Snyder kind of is just assuming certain things from the comics, even though if he does his little take
because
on it,
he knows what's going on in the comics. He's a fan of the comic books first and foremost. All his movies, most of his most popular movies have been comic book movies. 300, Watchmen, The Justice League, Batman, Superman, Man of Steel. Like they've all been big budget comic book movies, and he is a comic book fanatic. So he knows what he's doing with these properties.
That doesn't mean everyone watching knows.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at. So I'm agreeing that everyone knows. It's not mainstream to everybody.
What were you saying?
No, I was like, what Lucas is saying is that's a problem that Zack Snyder needs to maybe work on if he does come back and make more films. It's kind of like give people a backstory or why. Because, for example, for those who know why he's wearing it or what the significance of the suit is, we're like, getting all excited like little kids. But, there is a scene, and let me see if I can pull it, but he walks past the red suit, and here it is. So all these different suits come out. We'll talk about the background. But yeah.
I felt like I was just having an acid trip there. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah. Here's the suit right there. You see it pops out. His suit's right there. And he glances at it, and he continues to walk past it. And you're just kind of wondering, like, whoa, what are you doing, Superman? Like, he's going to get in the black suit, but you're not getting that. You see
why he's going into the black suit.
Yeah. This is all you get. Is him looking to his left, and it's, obviously coming up, and then that's it.
It's not accessible to the mainstream audience. That's
correct.
It's
yeah.
Also,
I agree.
Continue.
Yeah, I agree.
But
cool. Going into Superman scene, Carla, do you want to add anything else to any of those scenes?
No, I actually have to color an eye soon because.
Well, which suit do you like better? At least tell us.
Me?
Yeah.
Obviously, the black one.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
I like the OG suit better, but this one was so worth it. At the end, when Batman and Superman are standing next to each other, both wearing all black, and you're like, "Let's go, baby! Let's get more of this."
Yeah, I like it a lot. The moment I saw it on the trailer, I loved it. Yeah.
Right on.
All right.
Well, good night, Carla.
All right, guys. I gotta go because I have to work in the morning. So.
Okay.
But good movie. I'm sure you guys will stay on the discussion for a little bit, but I'm sorry, I do have to go.
It's all good.
Well,
all right. Bye.
It's good having you. Bye. Then there was 3.
Yeah, and now I'm outnumbered with DC fandoms. So.
Well, now let's get into this is a very key, important part in the movie where in Josh Whedon, if we're going to talk about reshoots and what's the difference, Cyborg was kind of like if you didn't know nothing about Justice League or superheroes, whatever, you kind of looked at Cyborg like, I don't care about this character. Why is he even in Justice League? He seems pretty lame. By the way, his CGI looks crappy. And, maybe it might come down, people might compare him to Iron Man and be like, is this like an Iron Man knockoff? Iron Man's better. I mean, he was just completely there was no point of him in the Josh Whedon. But in this masterpiece, you guys, he is one of the key parts in this movie. And he has now a backstory. He has key moments. He has heartfelt moments, and then Zack Snyder actually shows you what Cyborg can do, because all people were seeing was this this cyborg. Like, what can he do? And in this movie, Zack Snyder showed you some of his powers, what he can do, how he can hack into any kind of system, and manipulate it the way he wants to because of the intelligence. And I mean, it's great. And so, I loved every part of it. I'm upset that Joss Whedon, if it was in the original version, I'm upset that he took away this scene right here. And let me see if I can get to it. The scene where, right after the football game, um, he realizes his dad wasn't there at the game. He gets in the car with his mother, and I know I have it in here. I have it in here somewhere. He gets in the car with his mother, and she says something to him, and you're just like, oh, okay. Oh, here we go. Let's see if I have. See if I can get it.
I can't wait to see what you're gonna be tomorrow.
And that scene right there, I mean, set up to where you see this. You see him pretty much he lost his arm, he lost his, whole bottom half, and you're just like, well, dang. And he just won a football game, you guys. So think about, like, he had this good moment, happy moment. I mean, you're not promised tomorrow. And I mean, he realized his dad wasn't there, and then this happens. His mom's gone, by the way, dead. And I mean, he's pretty much dead too. And his father is pretty much like, I'm not gonna lose you. Which leads to, if you have, I don't want to get really technical, but it leads to the mother box creating Cyborg.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, in Joss Whedon's version, there's none of this. So Cyborg was kind of just thrown in there, and you're just like, what's your purpose in this movie? Where now you're kind of getting this like buildup of the story and seeing like, where it gets to, where, it gets to him actually. And I love that it's him it has to, with a little bit of Superman's help, separating the mother boxes to make sure the whole planet doesn't get obliterated by and taken over by Darkseid, and what he was going to do with it.
Yeah. I mean, all I can say is, like, they actually explain why he is needed in the movie. And before, in Justice League, you didn't need Victor Stone's Cyborg. You could have put generic superhero DC member here, honestly, that had some kind of tech experience. Hell, even Batman could do it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there wasn't anything special coming out of him. Now here, he was connected to the mother boxes. He could read the mother boxes. He was able to activate the airplane that didn't want to fly. He knew how to hack into things. He could do everything that Cyborg is meant to do, and we know why. And he's also akin to the New 52 Cyborg, who is integrated with mother box technology. So it made a whole heck of a lot more sense. He was the reason why the League was able to find and deal and basically stop Steppenwolf's invasion. If he didn't exist in this movie, there would have not been a chance for them to win.
I would say Zack Snyder, first off, want to shout out it was $70 million he got to retouch this movie. I think a big portion of that went to all the CGI stuff they added to Victor Stone's stories that have been fleshed out. I wasn't a big fan of how they explained a lot of his powers, because a lot of it doesn't need to be explained for future context. Like, they should have only told us what he was capable of if we were going to see that being used later on, in that way, because it was kind of just like, tutorial. Here's the tutorial of all your powers. You're only going to use maybe 5% of those powers during the movie. But it was pretty. It was very pretty. Also, what a shame that we don't have a Cyborg movie, and it doesn't even look like they're making it, because this would have been so cool to see in a movie all the way through. I mean, what a great story that we're being robbed of.
Yeah.
What an interesting character.
If anybody in the chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but Ray Fisher, I think, is done with Warner Brothers altogether after his mistreatment with Justice League in the first in Justice League. So
I mean, just look at the snow and the football scene and the slow motion, so pretty. And it sucks that's what we're getting. I mean, he really deserved better treatment. as a character, because he is one of the more fascinating characters. That with Flash, we have several seasons of a TV show to watch. We've got tons and tons of Superman and Batman movies. We've got 2 standalone Wonder Woman movies, one standalone Aquaman movie. We don't have hardly anything as Cyborg beyond the
Teen Titans
cartoon. It's so sad. It sucks. I want to know more, especially this version.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I think Ray Fisher really embodies.
I was just gonna say he played a really good cyborg.
Okay, we're on the same page. Yeah.
Didn't say booyah this time.
Yeah.
I see. I guess that's one thing from the Justice League I actually liked, because they actually tied into something that's very. He became a super well known popular character because of the Teen Titans animated show, and that was his catchphrase, and people loved it. It's like having a Ninja Turtles movie without hearing Cowabunga.
Yeah.
So I like that we didn't put that in there, but then again, I understand Zack Snyder's directing style, and his humor isn't like in your face humor.
No.
So it made sense. Look, it made sense. But Ray Fisher was perfectly casted, in my opinion.
I don't like where the booyah was used in the Justice League cut. And I don't think seeing this movie after having just lost his dad 5 minutes ago, that, at any point would he be saying booyah? Like, exactly. He just lost his dad, who he was pissed at, and then got a redemption for his father, kind of showing him that he loved him by sacrificing himself for no reason. It didn't amount to anything because he still got the mother box. It didn't. Well, actually, no, it did, because he heated it up.
Exactly, and he heated it too.
But still, like, he got the redemption, and then had to deal with even more loss. So he's losing grasp of his own humanity, because his father was the last thing that we've been shown to link him to being a human, and now he's completely alone. He's not going to say booyah. That wouldn't make sense. So it was cool. It was a cool fan moment, but it just doesn't fit with what he's going through at the time. And
exactly.
They left it out.
And if he was actually going through like his mom dying and everything within Justice League, like him saying it wouldn't have made sense. But since we didn't know anything about what the heck was going on with Cyborg, essentially, it made sense to throw some fan service in there. So that's why it kind of made sense in that interpretation.
Does he fist bump the Flash at the end, or is that Aquaman?
Yeah, I think he still does.
Aquaman.
It should have been Aquaman.
I think Aquaman does, because of the moment that they had. Because the moment that they had when Flash was trying to run at Superman, he just like tossed him aside, and Aquaman got nailed by the Flash, and then he's just sitting there like this. He's just like, "I'm so sorry."
Yeah.
So if it was Cyborg and Flash fist bumping, I don't think Cyborg that was in character at the time, because again, he's suffering. He doesn't have any reason.
Then again, in Justice League, another thing from Justice League, I will say, kind of did well for Cyborg is, so in New 52, I'm going to bring some comic book knowledge again. Sorry, guys. New 52, he has that like janky, like the way his cybernetics look, they're very crude looking. Like the mother box basically built all this stuff up, but there's no finessing to it. But at the end of like the issues where he became Cyborg, he like it shaped better and looked more, human-esque as much as a cybernetics can. In Justice League, he was, janky looking, but at the end, he actually had the C insignia on his chest forming, and his armor was morphing more into like muscles and like more human-esque looking, where in Snyder's he stayed janky the whole time. Not janky is like a loose term. The CGI looked miles better in this movie for Cyborg, 100%, but it was still
slick.
It looked apocalyptic the whole time. There was no like transference over into like, let me try and fit better into society.
Alex, you've been.
I was thinking, if we're looking at Joss Whedon's, like, without any of this backstory in his film, if I remember correctly, I think Cyborg was more focused on being a monster. Because then he said that he was kind of saying like, I'm a monster. You created a monster where Like this one, he didn't really mention that. I mean,
he did.
yeah,
He alluded to it, but not. It was very subtle.
Yeah, exactly. And so
he was like, "You're used to having monsters or something like that."
Yeah. So Josh Whedon was like, "Let's cut all this crap out, and let's just say you feel a type of way because you feel like you're a monster, and where Zack Snyder's bringing out this beautiful story
of daddy issues and mom dying and
exactly. Him still being that part human because at the end of the day, he was still part some kind of percent, small percent of being human. So he's not completely.
And so as much as I liked the additional stuff with Victor, I think Aquaman got sidelined after the beginning.
And I'm fine with it, honestly.
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you,
Broy. But I liked the Aquaman solo movie. I really liked the Aquaman solo movie.
Yeah, it's all right. It's pretty good.
But I don't like. So
I didn't want to get into the rabbit hole of talking about Aquaman. I'm just saying because we got more Victor, I feel like we got less Aquaman because there's hardly any Superman, but there's hardly any Aquaman. He just doesn't feel like
fleshed out,
relevant. Yeah, or fleshed out.
Not Zack's version of him. Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. But I just wanted to touch on when you said Silas sacrificed himself for no reason. So I think Silas, so but the whole, even more onto it, like you said, but just superheating it, he knew that if he had stayed outside that box and not got in there, Steppenwolf was going to get it no matter what. He was getting the box no matter what. So he made sure he made a barrier so Steppenwolf could, have something else to go through while he superheated it and conducted it. He gave his life basically so they could, it's not as grand as Doctor Strange using the time gem to see the 1,000 different outcomes, but Silas knew there was an outcome where he knew he had Steppenwolf was getting the box, right? So he had to make sure they were able to go and find the box.
He died to give them a chance.
Exactly.
And I had forgotten about it until I said it, but yeah. So that's what I was saying. It was Cyborg having that redemption in his father just to then immediately lose him, so that he wouldn't say "booyah." That's all I was sitting at.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Continue.
Moving on to the next, kind of ties in with a little bit what we were all touching.
Yeah.
This movie,
Aquaman.
Yeah, Aquaman.
I think the only one we haven't talked about is Aquaman and Wonder Woman. But I mean, we did talk about Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman a lot.
Yeah.
But I think Zack's choice on Wonder Woman was because she's already had 2 solo movies, Dawn of Justice as well, to flesh out her character.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he just used her as the exposition because she's the oldest living member of the League, so she could talk about Darkseid and the war he brought to Earth versus the old gods. Granted, she wasn't part of that war, but I'm sure it was a legend among her people. So she had the exposition to tell, and she saw it from the arrow that got shot out, and she was showcased more of the action because she is the action-based character besides the rest of the League.
Yeah.
And then Aquaman, of course, if Justin wants to take lead on that.
Well,
I said all I needed to say.
Okay.
I mean, we can move on to the other.
I don't know if he got so much fleshed out, because there was, that scene where he pops up, on top of a sinking boat, and he saves the guy. I think in Josh Whedon it was kind of so quick and just kind of well, where did that it was thrown in there where I don't know.
I don't think we saw him on the boat. I think he just came in with the guy on his back and just threw him on the table. I don't think the boat was part of it. If I'm not if someone wants to correct me, I could definitely be wrong. But
the thing,
I feel like
going
Zack,
off of that, Alex. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I feel like Zack was still kind of not really fleshing him out. The only thing that I'm gonna say that I did not like what Snyder did with the original, because I guess that was Snyder's original scene overall, was when he was heading towards the ocean after he did dump the guy on the table and he took I guess whiskey or whatever bottle and he heads out. There was a good I can't remember the song, but I could have sworn the song went with the scene. And then this song,
from the White Stripes.
Yeah. This song was just kind of it threw off the scene for me.
The somber, it's the inspirational music that Zack Snyder uses through his movies. It fits his directorial style. It fits his movies because
reel it in. Exactly.
Exactly. It's all my stuff has to be edgy and emo.
You wanted Zack Snyder, boys and girls. You got Zack.
This is what happens when you have no studio involvement in the Zack Snyder movie,
which is fine.
Yeah.
I will say, I think had we gotten this helping first, having this be our first introduction to Aquaman, all the scenes with him would have been so much cooler. But having already seen a full Aquaman movie, everything in this just seems like, okay, been there, done that, move on. I don't care. But then you also don't, you give epic stuff where he's like legendary, the protector of the oceans, yada, yada, yada. People respect him and getting that intrigue. But then the rest of the movie, he's just in the background going like this. And my favorite bit of character building with him was when in the Justice League cut, he was on the lasso, and that was the best joke in the whole movie, where he was like pouring his heart and soul out in a very bro-tastic way, which doesn't completely, shift the tone of the movie. I felt like, that's not in it again. Like, that's like my favorite joke of Justice League, and that would have made him more likable or understandable as a character. But he was just so sidelined after the first hour of this movie. And when he came back, when they were saving the hostages, was that Rikers Island, I think?
Strikers.
Strikers Island. Yes. Why did he come back? Like, he just had a change of heart, but that we didn't see as an audience what snapped him to go, oh, I should go help them. Like, he just shows up, which would have been good if we just had a scene.
Before that scene, wasn't it the scene with
Steppenwolf getting the mother box from Atlantis?
Yeah, but
and then Mera having the bubble conversation that should, like, continuity error. Atlanteans can talk underwater.
They still didn't fix that, which is
because they made William Dafoe make the bubble too.
I guess they were having a private meeting. I don't know.
That was my problem.
Accent too, which is weird.
Yeah. I don't know why that was in the.
All the Aquaman stuff is just so strange. Like, I don't even know where we're at and all that. Like, what is going on with this?
It's confirmed that this isn't part of the timeline. This is Zack's own movie now.
Yeah, but I was reading Wikipedia. According to James Wan or Jason Momoa, he's like, no, this is canon with my movie. And then Patty Jenkins is like, none of the directors think that Justice League is canon, but Warner Brothers does. So we have a lot of drama with disagreements, and that's why I stand firmly on the. I don't think we should get our hopes up for more Zack Snyder verse, because
it's crazy. As much as I dislike the movie, I really would like to know how Joss Whedon feels about all that's going on. Because I mean, he was hired on for a project, and he just like finished the movie that was given to him. Basically,
he's probably cranky.
And then seeing the hype built behind this movie and how audience-centered this movie is, and how, like, this has been a movement that's been going for years.
He's probably hanging out with George Lucas in a bar somewhere going, well, they don't want me anymore.
I still remember the morning I woke up when Comic-Con was going on one year, and there was a live feed going, and fans had bought an airplane with a huge tail sign behind it to fly over Comic-Con for an hour or two. Basically says, restore the Snyder Cut.
And
it worked. And you believe that it worked anyway. So we talked a lot about Aquaman. Yeah.
I was just gonna mention, I think Joss Whedon doesn't really care, because if he did, when he had said something on social media, or like came out with something, said something out of, I don't think
your movie's now worth $1, Josh. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, I don't think he cares.
Like I said, I still go ahead. I don't want to talk this to death.
No. I just think he doesn't care, because if he did, and I'm pretty sure he's hearing. I mean, you're seeing it on the internet. There's a flood of people saying your version sucked, and now that we got this version, we can really see how bad your movie was. And he's been quiet. He's been silent, and I think maybe he's embarrassed, or maybe he just doesn't care, or maybe he thinks he's right, and he's like, no, I like my version better. Sorry, you guys. I don't know.
Me and Alex were talking about Joss getting all the hate, but I think Warner Brothers deserves some of that hate too for hiring him in the first place.
I think Warner Brothers deserves all the hate.
Yeah, they do.
Because I like I said, I think Joss is a capable director with all of his other past stuff. It's very bizarre that, especially his choices with Victor, when he's proven in the past to be so good at character building and chemistry, that just didn't have that in his version. But I guess we just will never know what the true story is behind all that. So I just don't want to talk too much. I have nothing more to say about that.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Flash. And because just like Cyborg, Flash had a
exactly. You know what's funny is these discussions we've already talked about, because we've gone round and round in circles about this movie in a matter of like now going on an hour and 31 minutes. Man.
We haven't talked a lot about Batman either. For a Batman, we all love probably Batman equally, but the other characters just finally got their due. So it's more exciting to talk about.
The hypest point for Batman was him breaking into Steppenwolf's base, and we're seeing him use the Batmobile like he does in the Arkham games, just shooting and mowing things down. And then him finally, like, that money shot. Can we talk about the money shot real quick with the Batmobile?
I didn't mean to change topics so dramatically, but
it was the Batmobile and Aquaman and Wonder Woman and Flash and Cyborg, and I'll say it to Avengers again, Avengers: Age of Ultron, when they're all in the snow.
The money shot, yeah.
And when they're all in the snow and they see them and they're all across the screen, they're all in their poses, and then it cuts to the rest of the scene. That's exactly what it made me think of, and exactly the same feelings. It was such a good choice.
This guy above me right here, when Batman jumps and starts using a turret, he hops up and goes, "Oh, so resourceful," and I just died laughing because I'm like, "What do you mean resourceful? He's just using a turret."
But like, he's not. That's the thing I said though. Like, that's the thing I said though while we were watching it. Justin was like, Batman is hiding this whole goddamn time because a parademon could whoop his butt one-on-one because a parademon is stupidly strong. So this man has to find ways to fight things. And you know what? He found ways. Every time he found a way to deal with something. And that's what Batman is. And you know what? If I have to use their weapons, I'm going to use their weapons against them. And that's what he does. He's a resourceful human being.
He feels a lot more useful in this than Joss's Cut.
Yeah, Joss Whedon, he was kind of like, if we're going to talk about a sideline character or someone that just kind of like was just, he seemed like he was weak in the whole movie, was Batman. And in this one, you know, whether it was like having the little wristband to, you know, absorb the energy and 100%. Like, I mean, he's adjusting, which that's what he adjusts and he adapts and he learns and he
adapt and survive. Justin, did I not say that too?
No, I mean, I was with you though, Lucas. That was very bad. I know Batman. That's very Batman.
Yeah.
I don't know Superman. I don't know Wonder Woman. I know Batman, and that was Batman.
Yeah. The whole movie was him. Like, it was the most accurate interpret. Because so at the end of if we can talk about how, like, adaptability for Batman, right, and how he deals with like Justice League level threats. So when he fought Superman in BVS, he knew he could maybe win, but he didn't have a guarantee win, right? He didn't have an in-game win strategy. Like, in the long run, if Superman wanted to kill him, he could kill him. And he kind of knew that. And then when he fought Doomsday, who is definitely stronger than Superman, you didn't ever see it. You saw him running through that whole fight. He was like, I'm not getting up close. I'm not dealing with this man. I will do what I can, but I will be here for moral support, essentially. He didn't have anything with him to help fight him. Now, going into the fight versus Steppenwolf, he had the plane. He had the car. He had all the gadgets at his disposal, and he used them. Prep time. Batman is prep time, and that proves it. And Zack Snyder proved that character, like the understanding of Batman through Justice League, whereas he was dealing with a parademon and didn't have all his gadgets and was getting his butt handed to him. And then all of a sudden he had the tech suit. He had like I said, the airplane. He had the car. He had everything. And then when he didn't have it anymore, he resourced to fighting with apocalyptic technology to be able to deal with a threat.
I see it.
Perfect example of Batman. Perfect example of Batman.
Yeah. much better scenes. As a Batman fan, I was a lot happier with the scenes that they portrayed in this movie that Zack Snyder put. Like it was a lot of like that's Batman. That's what Batman
Exactly.
would do.
Who I think that's his favorite character too.
It is. I think so too.
I think that's Zach's favorite character.
Yeah.
And you could definitely tell from BVS his attention to like the warehouse fight scene is probably the most comic book accurate Batman fight scene ever put to film.
So good. I just watched BVS over the weekend. Oh my god, so good!
It's
so good.
I think I've watched that fight itself entirely, like probably all of like 100 times since it's been out, because I will rewatch it every now and then just to be like, oh, so good.
And to give more of the, in the short time that they had the duo between Batman is not himself, it's him and Alfred.
Mm-hmm.
Batman together is Bruce and Alfred. It's not just Bruce.
Nope.
And they've used that so much through this movie and in Batman versus Superman. I love how Zack does. It's kind of like in the CW show Arrow. Arrow is not Oliver; it's Oliver and Felicity.
Mm-hmm.
Same with this. It's and it's not. It's Team Arrow. This is Team Batman, and it's just really Alfred and Bruce. But now he's Team Batman is all the Justice League.
I just realized that we were supposed to be talking about the Flash's powers. We already talked about the Flash's powers, but we just segued right into probably some of the
we can move around and talk about. I mean, this is what the discussion is like. We're having discussion on everything that we like and good and bad.
Dynamic,
I mean, like you said too, Lucas, we've already touched kind of bases on this, and because we're bouncing around. But I mean, the Flash was messing with time, and he says it right here, and I have it in quotes like, "I don't like to break this rule, but when I approach the speed of light, crazy things happen to time." Which is probably leads back to why maybe he doesn't want to go back in time for his father.
Mm-hmm.
Because
he knows, this Flash knows, that means he's already dabbled in it a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's what I like. I don't want an explanation. Like, I don't want an explanation.
Because when he started doing the time reversal, I probably would have
Carla.
I wonder who that is. When we get to it's not like he's not, but we don't have much to talk about Superman in this because he's not in it that much. But when the Flash was doing the time reversal thing, I would have figured it out eventually, but Lucas knew instantly because he's more of a fan. And I was like, he said it out loud. He's like, "Oh, he's reversing time," and I'm like, "But okay." And I had to like really focus and go, "Okay, yeah, I can definitely see now how he's reversing time," but I felt like that wasn't built up on the nose enough for a casual viewer. I'm a little above a casual viewer, not that they're worse than me. It's just I have a little knowledge of Flash from the show. So seeing it done in this way took me a little bit. So it wasn't as hype as it could have been had he maybe earlier in the movie attempted to do it and failed. And then now, when everybody needed it, it was desperate that he finally figured it out and did it. And it would have been like, yeah.
He did reverse time earlier in the movie.
Was it subtle?
It was a little subtle. Okay, so when they're trying to recharge. Okay, so when they're trying to wake up, reactivate Superman essentially, and the mother box hits the water. And he's not close enough to Victor.
No, that was cool.
There's a point where he hits, and the mother box comes back out of the water.
That was
and
fine.
The picture comes out of the water.
Yes. Yeah, that was good, but it was the whole like there wasn't like he succeeded there to a smaller extent, but it was like I don't know. It was so long of a movie. I guess I had just forgotten about it by the time he did it that way, and it also looks very different. With him running on he looks like he's running in place and the world is changing around him versus this time he's floating in the air because he's reversing that way. So it's so different that as a casual viewer, you're looking at it, you're trying to keep up, but it's like, what's going on?
So Katrina's asking what the mother boxes are.
Apocalyptian like world engine technology. They are they're not life, they are not death, they're not creation, they are not destruction. The sole existence is to change things, and they change things to the master that's controlling them. So in Darkseid's case, he changes them to be a copy of his apocalyptic of Apocalypse. Say if General Zod was alive from Man of Steel, if he had control of the mother boxes, he would have used them instead of the World Engine to change the atmosphere of Earth to become Krypton. It's just they're engines of change.
Yeah. And cinematically, they serve the function of what is called a MacGuffin. I'm not going to explain where that term came from, but I will define it for anybody listening who doesn't know what it is. It is an object that is plot-oriented. The plot is based around it. So if you think Marvel, it's the Infinity Stones. If you think Indiana Jones, it's the Holy Grail, or that's kind of where it came from. And that's what they serve in this movie. This is what they're trying to prevent the bad guy from getting. So that they're either in a MacGuffin, they're either trying to get it for a purpose or trying to keep someone else from getting it. And that's all. That's just the way to build up to the final fight, where Steppenwolf finally does get all three, and they fail to prevent him to get all three, which is really good storytelling. It's the hero's journey. They fail to do what they wanted to do. Like the plan A fails, so you go to plan B and it works. That's great storytelling. That's basically what happens. And they even go to plan C because, as we were talking about, Barry has to reverse time.
Exactly.
Which is really cool, but it took me a second to get.
Thinking about the mother boxes, I feel like they have more, because in Josh's version, friggin'
Mother
kind of calling out to them as mother, but I feel like in this one they kind of had more. The fact that they showed him, this is gonna get a little bit like confusing for people who don't know, but to show him the anti-life equation,
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, see, a lot of people don't know, but I mean, the fact that the box was kind of like it summoned him, because remember he was fighting, I think he was getting his butt whooped, and right before Batman, either Batman or Cyborg shot that missile, and he grabbed it, and he created that hole. And then, I think that's when he looked up and the box called to him, and he was kind of like, "Why did you call me? I was kind of busy." And that was why, because where I feel like in Joss Whedon, it was just kind of like floating blocks that were just, I don't even know. Yeah, like
they were just like, "Here's a MacGuffin. We're just calling it a mother box."
They showed that Zack showed that the mother boxes were basically alive, but not alive.
Yeah.
They're AIs, but not AIs. It's kind of it's weird hearing me say it like that, but that's exactly what they are. They're ambiguous. They're mysterious. You don't really understand them, but you do understand them at the same time. They're basically
all right
AI sentience that Darkseid controls, because they're a part of him and his world, essentially. Yeah,
we may have just done a better job explaining it than both directors, in fact. But
yeah, the one thing I do want to talk about was Flash's powers, though. When it comes to his powers, okay. So since we're back, let's go back to topic real quick.
Yeah.
So he breaks his foot and he gets shot. We don't see what happens after that, right? But while he's getting ready to reverse time, he's like, "Gotta heal, gotta heal, gotta heal, gotta heal." If he said that line while trying to pick back up speed after breaking his foot and getting hurt earlier in the movie, it would have made more sense, because it's giving a segue into his super regeneration. But now out of nowhere, he's saying gotta heal, gotta heal, gotta heal. Before we just watched him magically.
If he had right before he had to reverse time, he hurt his foot and tripped and fell, and while he was doing the time travel and then got back up heroically, struggling in pain to do that, and it would have been more impactful than.
And watch as his foot was snapping back into place.
You would have been tense. You would have had your stomach clenched and your cheeks clasped and just waiting for that. Oh no, he fell, and then he got back up, and you're like, yes.
Yeah.
But we just, I think it was take too much, but it's it easily could have been a little bit better. Have you just?
I can definitely say, because I've said I was very vocal watching this movie, and I not usually am. I'm usually very quiet when watching a movie that I really want to involve myself in, but I was so hyped on things. But even at one point I look at Justin, I'm like, how is he healing? I know he's healing because I know the Flash's powers, but I look at Justin, I'm like, they're not telling us why he's healing.
And
You just
which
have
leads
to
back
assume
to
it.
Zack
Yeah.
Snyder. Like he's just assuming where he could have done something
Exactly.
to.
Like when he, like I said, when he falls against the thing after Superman's like seeing him move, he breaks his leg and then he gets shot or gets torn up. Next scene, he's up and moving around like it's nothing.
Yeah.
But they don't explain it.
Beautiful,
But then,
beautiful CGI though.
Yeah.
It was pretty movie.
Yeah.
very
I
pretty.
think this scene right here gave me goosebumps and just
Mhm.
took my breath away because you're just seeing. I mean, for you guys who are still watching, so Flash, a lot of people when you think of Flash, and if you don't know a lot of his powers, you just assume he's fast, and that's part of it. But he can also,
Oversimplification of
yeah,
my powers.
yeah, but he can time travel. He can mess with time. But I mean, he even said it if he does that, things don't really kind of go perfectly. But in this scene right here, I love the angle shots. I love the CGI. I mean, he's reversing the blast and everything's just kind of like as he's stepping forward. I don't know if I can get some of it, but and then as he's doing it too, he says this like, all right before that, hold on. And I think it's because I think he was kind of thinking of his dad because his dad told him something about like, you can have, make your own future.
Future,
So
make your own past. It's all right now.
yeah,
Yes, that's
yeah.
yes.
And that was just wow. Like that moment was just it just gave me goosebumps. But yeah, I mean him just running towards. I don't know if I have it, but yeah, here we go. Here we go. Like everything's coming. I mean, look at this. This is like before that scene, or I mean, yeah, before that scene when the mother boxes combined and then the blast happened. I mean, Superman, Cyborg, everybody, everything was
Incinerated.
getting, yeah. And you're seeing Flash reversing time as that he's now approaching and getting there, and everything's starting to slowly get put back together. And it was just so done well, and I'm just like, Zack Snyder, thank you. That was
It is
beautiful.
one of the most Zack Snyder things that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
A beautiful shot.
A bit of a non sequitur because I don't know when I'm going to get this in here. It was an interesting fact, but Weta Digital, who is known for their work on Lord of the Rings, did a lot of the effects for this movie, and you can see how they've learned from The Hobbit, and they've probably done work on I don't know this for a fact. They probably done work with Zack before on other stuff. So just from the costume designs, you can really see that from the CGI and everything. Very, if nothing, if not pretty, and Zack Snyder has even referred to this more as an art film. It certainly earns that. Also, me and Lucas were questioning, this is very non sequitur, but in the flashback context scene where they're preventing Darkseid from getting the mother boxes in the original, with Zeus and who is the Green Lantern and all that. The human was King Arthur, so I called it.
Wow,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Apparently, King Arthur is in the DC comics as well.
That's cool.
Wow.
I that's a little fun fact I didn't know.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Now I'm done with my notes. Now I can put my notes.
But yeah, I mean, so for you guys who've seen like that's Flash, it's power.
It's amazing.
First time, and it's amazing, great scene. If you haven't watched the movie, you will be blown away by this scene. Now, the one that we're all getting anxious to talk about is the epilogue of the nightmare scene. So for some of you guys who are already confused about like mother boxes and Darkseid, and we're about to confuse you a little bit more.
Not a little bit more.
Yeah.
This is a lot more.
This is a lot more. Nightmare scene. So.
Oh, we didn't talk about Martian Manhunter at all.
Yeah. Well, we're getting to it. We'll
okay.
talk about because there's even conversation. There's talks about the way he looks, but we'll get to that. But we'll get to that. So. Gotcha. So we'll talk, kind of fairly quickly about the nightmare scene because this is like how would you say that? not really. I mean, it's an integral part, but it's like another big part in this movie that, I mean, ties in with everything else Zack Snyderverse. I think I have.
Isn't that right? Batman.
Did he say
Now, how many
Batman?
dead eyes can you
Or
look
Bruce?
into before you die inside yourself? I've been dead inside a long time. You won't kill me. I'm your best friend. You. Me. To help you undo this world you created by letting her die. So as usual, I'll be the bigger man. A truce?
Bruce.
Bruce. But all you have to do is tear it in half, and I'm happy to discuss with you in any way you like why you sent a boy wonder to do a man's job. Because when I held Harley Quinn and she was bleeding and dying, she begged me that when I killed you, and make no mistake, I will kill you, that I do it slow.
So
Chills.
Yeah.
Chills.
So,
Chills.
We're robbed. I don't think we're getting any more of that. So I don't like that. I like it as much as I do because I want the origins of all of their history. I want to see all of that. I want to see where this goes. I want to see everything. I want to see him working with Deathstroke. I want to see Deathstroke going after him. I want to see Darkseid, and I want to see Evil Superman. I don't think we're ever going to see any of that.
This conversation makes me want a Batman Joker movie with Jared Leto and Batman's Joker where Robin dies. Just from that line. Why do you send a boy to do a man's job?
yeah.
Also, I think Bruce is responsible for Lois's death because he gulps guiltily as when Joker says that. So he at least feels responsible whether he's responsible or not.
And if you guys pay attention to this image right here, this is the Batcave. If you look, I don't know if
and
you
that's
know.
Lois.
Yeah, that's Lois. I mean, you can see the Robin. You can see the Robin suit in the far back right corner, the one that says "Ha ha ha." The joke's on you. So.
Right there. Yeah.
And there's Darkseid, and this is
all hail Darkseid.
This could have been in part 2 where it could have been, Darkseid saying, "Oh, look what Batman did."
I think that's what Zack was building towards.
Yep.
I think that's what he was building towards was Nightmare scene. That's why he showcased Flash being able to reverse time, and the scene where Bruce saw Flash come back through time to tell him it's all about Lois. I think it was going to be Flash going back in time to be like, hey, don't let this happen. And they let it happen. All the makeup on the Joker is not it. He looks like a clown.
Well, Katrina, he
what?
He is a clown.
Oh, not a Jared Leto fan.
Or unless you're saying it looks more like. I wonder if you're saying. Well, I mean, it is. Yeah.
He looks like a post-apocalyptic Joker trying to survive. That's what he looks like, and he just looks like he's been through the ringer.
See, we weren't a Jared Leto fan up until that scene. He changed from if you watch Suicide Squad. I don't know whether you or anyone that's watching. He did a horrible job. He didn't. I mean, I'm not gonna say anything about his costume because at the end of the day, that kind of comes down to director and stuff like that. But
Warner Brothers was involved in Suicide Squad way too much.
Yeah,
there was not Joker didn't belong in that movie, but there was enough Joker scenes shot that would have gave us a better interpretation of that character.
I didn't. My biggest problem with Jared Leto, because I like him as an actor a lot. He's actually in my favorite movie of all time as the bad guy, which we're not talking about right now. But he, in Suicide Squad, I didn't blame him for the way he acted. Like I felt like he was a gangster, but he didn't feel like the Joker. And he doesn't have any funny or menacingly funny lines to show that he has a sense of humor. The closest thing the most unique thing he does is kind of like purr like a kitten. And he does the theatrical movements, which fine. The Joker needs to tell a joke or at least have some. And in this scene, he gives like 3 and then he does a rhyme to show you that he has a sense of humor. And then when Batman is like, don't cross the line, he's like, oh, I'm going to cross the line. He just does it because in that 2-minute introduction there, that is probably the best Joker content we've gotten live action since Heath Ledger, which isn't because I guess the movie, if we're counting that with Joaquin Phoenix, but that's way different.
I personally think that dialogue was better than Heath Ledger's Joker.
Well, that dialogue fit the comic book Joker. Heath Ledger's Joker was different.
Was a real
I like
realism Joker.
That better because it's different. But when I think of the Joker, I think Mark Hamill and Jared Leto was really channeling that Mark Hamill Joker in that scene, which is what I've always wanted, and it was so satisfying.
I could hear Mark Hamill's voice doing that lines. I could easily have done it, just like when before the Killing Joke, Bruce. Just before the Killing Joke, before the Killing Joke was made into a movie, there was a convention, and Mark Hamill read the huge monologue from the Joker from that book, where it's like just one bad day. Like he read that whole monologue, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, oh my god, that makes there's no other voice for him. But after hearing Jared Leto do this scene, that's my live action Joker. I'm sorry. That is the live action Joker for me, and I want more. I won't get it.
And see, and that's where it comes down to, the dialogue, the script, because a lot of people said in Suicide Squad, because like Katrina was saying, she's seen Suicide Squad and she hated it because of him. And I think, I'm one. One of the things that I disliked about Suicide Squad was the Joker. And yeah, maybe he didn't get enough lines, but now you have him with a director that gave him lines that you see this is a Joker kind of thing, kind of lines, kind of humor. It fit and it made it better for him, and it's like I can say he kind of redeemed himself. And here's the other key thing. Here's the other key component. He still brought the stupid laugh. I was like, what? I don't like it.
But I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I still don't like it.
I do.
I don't like it still.
Well, but I don't. Go ahead.
No, what were you gonna say?
The laugh that he was doing there feels because he's not. That laugh isn't a Joker. Often laughs to celebrate.
That was a mocking laugh.
Yes, it wasn't a celebration laugh, so it's very fitting. So if we had a celebration laugh, he could probably do something different. If he keeps doing that same cackle, which doesn't take any effort because anybody can just go ah.
I think he either he doesn't know how to do one, or I think he thinks that interpretation of the Joker laugh is good because he does the same thing multiple times in Suicide Squad, and then he gets an opportunity to redeem himself. Like, hey, he's being brought back to be Joker, and he doesn't change the laugh, or he changed the voice. I'll give him credit on the voice. The voice sounds better. He changed his tone of voice. He sounds better in the movie. And I said this too when we were watching the trailer reaction of it. And so the voice is better.
But the scene where he's in Suicide Squad, where he's in the straitjacket and he's talking to Harley, the voice he uses at that point in the movie sounds like the voice he's using for the Nightmare scene. So that's the thing that I want to keep saying is Warner Brothers had too much involvement with Suicide Squad and cut too much stuff from that movie. That's why the movie doesn't. That's why his Joker didn't sell.
Well, I also don't think him doing the celebration laugh, which allowed me to demonstrate, would be something like Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Would have broken up the minutia of
It would have.
the scene because the scene is two behemoths facing off like a lion and another lion or something like I don't know, whatever
exactly
predator here, and both just kind of doing that white boy schoolyard dance where they're not fighting but they in each other's faces, and it wouldn't make sense for the Joker to be like because he was
asserting his dominance because he's just like, what are you gonna do?
He was
kill me?
His chest up. Yeah.
Which means Joker has the upper hand, and on top of that, you guys notice
no, I don't think he did. I think he was saying that to call make himself give himself a little bit more courage. I don't think he was saying that to Batman because I think Batman, after seeing him kill all these other people, he's gonna kill the Joker. I have no doubt in my mind he would hesitate at this point.
Which Joker, I think, at the end of the day, doesn't fear death, because when you see Superman shows up. When Cyborg was like, "Oh, Superman's here," everyone was kind of getting ready for battle, and then Joker was just like he was just kind of like, I don't know. I guess he's just ready to die.
The Joker's thing has traditionally been, "I want Batman to kill." This Batman already kills, so that's not what Joker has over Batman. So for him to say, "Oh, you're not going to kill me," seems
this Joker.
Less like he wants to win, but him winning is not Batman killing him.
So this Joker gave me a lot of Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's run on Joker. Like he thinks he's the main focus of Bruce's world, and the world revolves around him and Bruce. Everyone else can screw off. No one else matters. It's between me and you, Bruce. That's all it is. Everyone else does not need to be in our world.
Yeah, I think he wants to drive Batman insane. I don't think he wants to
but don't you think Batman's already insane? And because
everybody in this world is arguably insane because of the apocalypse.
And I wanted to bring up how Justin talked about the two behemoths.
Anyway,
so Justin brought up how there was two behemoths talking to each other, right? So in the scene, you had Mira, who's by far stronger, probably stronger than anybody there. You had Slade, who could easily
pulled the water out of Steppenwolf's face.
Exactly. You have Slade, who could probably beat Batman in a hand-to-hand combat because and also can't die easily. You have Cyborg, who's a running machine. Like you had all these people around them, and they weren't trying to stop this fight. They weren't trying to stop anything, but they listened to Batman about bringing the Joker along, and the Joker's just saying whatever he wants and doesn't care that all these people who are living in a world where they can kill. He doesn't care because Jared Leto is channeling the embodiment of what the Joker is at his core in this 5-minute scene.
I get the disappointment and the laugh. I just say it wasn't appropriate here, and I want more so we can have that. But that's putting it on faith that Leto could do that, and we just don't know because he's never done it.
A point where Jared Leto could do that laugh is if this continues, that like big celebration laugh is if he's dying. Say he's dying and like either getting shot or maybe he's getting burnt or tortured. And while that is happening, he's giving us that like grand, majestic, like final, final hoorah Joker laugh. Like I don't want to hear like nonstop like celebration laugh like Justin said all the time. I like that mocking laugh. He's like, you let a little boy die.
I also feel like this Joker, because of the state of the world, his victories, like he doesn't have much more to do to Batman. So he's kind of like disappointed in how much more he can do because Batman, Alex was saying, isn't he insane? No, I don't think he's insane because he's got a crew. He's still trying to prevent this stuff from happening. He's still trying to stop all this from happening. And this Joker's, what more can he do to Batman at this point? He's already lost everybody.
Topic of insanity, though. So when they're showing the conversation between Bruce and Joker, right? When they show Bruce's face, like Joker's looking at him, there's the camera's, clear, perfect. You can see what Bruce is saying. But when it flips, it's Jared Leto coming in and out of focus. You never have a full-on, like, rendering of his face, like, for longer than, like, a second. is that Batman seeing what we see, or is that just trying to showcase Joker being crazy? Maybe they're giving us what Batman sees. Maybe this is what Batman sees. No. He sees the Joker's there, of course, but is he seeing like someone going in and out? Is he going crazy? Is Batman's like ticker finally going off?
I think that's a bit of a reach at this point.
It probably is, but I definitely thought that while watching it. I thought both ways actually. But him showcasing the crazy on both sides.
Did they at this point? They didn't just run into Joker who was sitting there. He's with the crew, right?
He was brought in for a purpose.
But no.
That's what she said.
They're traveling, but he's with the crew, right?
Yeah. That's what
he's been with them, and then they just kind of stopped because the Joker wanted to show his like dominance here. Yeah,
Mira made like a comment or something, and then Slade made was like, he's like, you brought him along as well, and Batman was something along the lines of like, yeah, but we needed him, and then Joker then goes into like his whole monologue of like, you need me, I'm your best friend, because there's something that's happening that they need him for, clearly.
You know what? He kind of reminds me, I don't know if you've played the Telltale game of Batman, but he reminds me of that Joker a lot, who really wants to be Batman's friend, but just a little bit, actually. But it's giving me those vibes.
It's definitely...
Sorry, Alex, I feel like we haven't let you talk.
I'm so sorry. This is definitely like the character for me.
I'm kind of just that's more Lucas, but I'm just kind of taking in like, if Joker's, motivation is to drive Batman mad, and at this point in time, Batman's already killing to where even Joker made said the line that how many more people he's gonna kill in these different I guess not did he say multiverse? Kind of just like he's saying, like, it's almost like he's saying he's been using Flash.
He did drop the multiverse line. Joker also did drop the multiverse line, right?
Yeah.
There was someone in this movie that did.
Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
No.
I think
was it Steppenwolf?
Well, he said something like he's the strongest in the multiverse.
Someone dropped the multiverse line. I just can't remember
I like
who.
Martian Manhunter's design, by the way. I'm sure we need to wrap this up for Lucas going to work. Yeah. But I do like, Alex will figure out the scene he's trying to show us. But in the meantime, Martian Manhunter, I liked the second scene he was in with Batman. I didn't like how he randomly appeared as Martha Kent, but because it didn't make sense for him to be there, just to be like, the world needs you, Lois. But it's like, it just felt really out of place, but for the sake of surprising us.
I mean, he's kind of just been like, this like back character this whole time, analyzing everything.
And it reminds me of Captain Marvel, like, where were you every time the world was threatened, you jerk?
Yeah, but he's like behind the scenes, making sure all the pieces are moving correctly. But now he's finally approached himself.
He could have helped. He could have helped and kept the cover. He didn't have to blow his cover to help. He can shapeshift.
You've called me the Martian Manhunter.
Also, weird for a casual audience, because that sounds like an enemy. I'm a Martian and I hunt men. Okay.
Yeah.
But the nightmare scene, I feel like I could tear apart piece by piece, bit by bit.
I had an Oreo.
Yeah,
because there's so much to dissect from that 5-minute scene.
And that's what sucks, is that there's so much to dissect, but like Justin has mentioned, there's no point, because right now, if there's no Snyderverse, this is all for naught. So it's like, it's great, it's beautiful, it's
I don't want to set myself up for disappointment.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate that.
For us to sit here and decipher every little thing, which, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of, going just even past this, and you see, I think this was Cyborg's vision, right? When he's connected to the mother box. But I mean, we can go into like, is Wonder Woman gone in this world? There's Superman. This is the turning point, because he has Lois Lane right there, and on top of that, it's in the Batcave. So now you see the tension is much higher now between Superman and Batman, and then you have Darkseid there. Like, it's perfect, it's fitting, and like
this is
like, hey, and I feel like Batman, I feel like Superman and Batman, especially Superman, I feel like, they may bump heads, but I feel like there's that strong connection, stronghold, and I think maybe at some point Superman trusted Batman to protect Lois Lane during this maybe all this is that's going on, and then he comes to find out she dies because of some whatever that led to the blame of Batman, and now Darkseid is doing all this damage, and so it's great. Yeah, I would love to decipher it, but we might not get this vision, this Snyder vision, and it would have been epic for a part 2 and part 3, and maybe I don't know if it does happen. I think I wanna I hope Snyder works on doing a better job on letting people know who, when you introduce a character or certain powers, like kind of give a backstory or like something to the common audience, because not everyone's going to sit here and be like, oh, Darkseid, he looks interesting, I'm going to go read comic books about him. They're not.
If we were to follow the plan, what would happen is we would get a standalone Batman movie with Deathstroke. Then we would get the next Justice League, and then they had never confirmed beyond that. I don't know if the Flashpoint movie is still even happening.
No, it is. That is confirmed still happening.
And if it is still happening, if it's going to have apparently it's going to have nothing to do with this. So we would definitely need that standalone, because they still set the standalone Batman movie up with the redone, re-edited scene with Lex Luthor at the end, instead of saying we want a League of Our Own, which is a stupid lie. But just giving him giving him intel on Batman, like, this is your target, go after your target. So we would get that next, and then we would eventually get to this. This would be our end game level where half the characters are gone. You got a new team filled with people that you were in the beginning, new people, side characters, getting all that chemistry. I was like, that's what I want. And it's sad. I really do not think we're getting that. I don't like, even with Victor Stone, or what's his name?
Ray Fisher.
The actor. Yeah. I don't think if he's not going to come back,
he'll only come back for Snyder, I think.
Yeah.
I think he would only come back for
Snyder. You don't know that because Ben Affleck, he's lost a ton of weight, so you'd have to bulk back up, and he's pretty salty too. So there's a lot of like just hesitant on everybody's part. So if this does well enough, maybe, but it just still seems so far away and so not going to happen to me. And also, if I keep saying this, maybe it'll happen because that's what happened with the Snyder Cut. So it's never going to happen.
Well, I mean, if you think about what happened, I'll say this real quick, and then we can end it here for those who are still watching. But
yeah,
a lot of us, when we found out that there was, the Snyder version got cut out, and it's hidden in a vault, tightly sealed in the bottom of the ocean with Aquaman. Like, a lot of us were just kind of like, we were hopeful, but we're like, you know what? It's probably not going to come and might not happen. Maybe this is another example where we don't think the Snyderverse will return, and I think, and maybe he might not bring the whole like a Justice League movie, but maybe he can do the Wonder Woman #3, and that could be the spark to giving him the opportunity, a door open again for restart on Justice League or something. So
I could go for like a drama series, seeing how this appeared on HBO Max. It had a $70 million budget. They could do that, but I don't know. It depends on how badly they want to sell.
We're getting a Green Lantern series, so we'll see how that goes first.
Yeah.
And there was a main character, and there was a main character, Green Lantern, dead in one of the nightmare scenes. So
yeah,
who knows?
Moving on. Do we want to score it, Alex?
I do.
Yeah. You start, Justin, because you're the
I'm the outlier
fanboy.
Well, I love Batman. I just don't know as much about. But anyway, I'm more of a film guy. Like, that's my thing. I love film. And as far as this goes, as a movie, especially as a standalone, there's no point in watching this if you haven't seen. Yeah, Wonder Woman needs another movie. Katrina.
Yeah, she does.
There's no point in watching this if you haven't at least seen Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman.
Yep.
Especially Batman vs Superman. Because a lot of what's going on just won't matter at all. It won't matter. But that being said, out of 10, as a movie. I think, like I said, I gave the original just barely passing 70. I don't think this version is perfect. I don't think it improves the movie so much that it's an A or a 10 out of 10. But I would give it an 8 to 8.5. I think it's an 8.5 if you're a DC fan. I think as a superhero movie in general, it's an 8. But it just where it falls short in my book is it's obviously one of the most pretty movies ever, but based on setup and payoff, chemistry between the characters, there's just a lack of both of those things. There's not enough payoff from setup, like I was talking about the Flash using his time travel powers, not set up in a way that was satisfyingly paid off, just cool looking in general. And then Victor Stone, Cyborg, when he got the setup for all the different things he can do, and then not really doing much of that in the end, just kind of shooting at stuff and hacking things, but not, I mean, never nuclear weapon came up. He could have unleashed the entire nuclear arsenal. It would have been cool if he'd summoned a nuke, but if he wasn't going to do that, why set it up in general? Just to show how powerful he is, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, 8.5 for DC fans. And again, just if they had a little bit more rapport as a team, the team coming together, feeling more satisfying, it would have been a 10, but it doesn't reach that for me. But still, absolutely so much better than the original, so much more fun to just watch and, eat popcorn and be a little kid watching your toys come to life on the screen or from the comic, utilizing all of their powers to the fullest. So 8.8 to 8.5, somewhere in between that.
What about you, Lucas?
As a comic book and DC fan, I give it a 10 out of 10. But as a movie itself, probably 8.5 to 9 for me. I definitely noticed where the flaws of this movie lie. It's definitely, there's still some character issues. There's still some costume choices. There's still some sound choices, not all the sound choices. There's still some shot scenes that are weird, and different placement of certain lines could have been better. Like I mentioned with the Ezra Miller Flash's talk about his regeneration, it should have been noted a little bit earlier in the movie than right before his big scene. Whereas comic book side of me is like, wow, this is like watching my Christmas present get opened on Halloween while eating trick-or-treat candy and eating a Cadbury egg at the same time, thinking it's Easter. There were so many emotions going through my head.
That's your perfect day, huh?
There's so many things that were going on in my head the whole time watching this movie. Justin can attest to it. I was very vocal. I was very hyped.
Seizures every 20 minutes.
Yeah,
I joined in a little bit, but him was all the movie and just so.
I was definitely someone who sat on my computer during Restore the Snyder Cut movement and Restore the Snyderverse. I was definitely pushing that hashtag. I was definitely pushing for this movie.
Yeah.
I wanted this. I wanted this. I like edgy. I like dark. I like seeing my characters that I grew up with having a fully fleshed out story. And excuse my French, but damn it, Zack, you did it. You gave me what I wanted. I didn't think I needed it. You gave me something I never in a million years thought I would see, is some of my favorite characters together on screen together. And you did it. You did it great.
Satisfying.
I was beyond satisfied. And you now have probably my favorite live action interpretation of my favorite fictional character of all time on screen.
Who?
Joker.
Joker.
For that one scene?
For that one scene, I think he flawlessly portrayed what I envision Joker, what he is at his core. And it's really hard to do that, because it's really hard to break the barrier for me for Mark Hamill as favorite Joker, and he didn't break that yet. That's still not broken.
No,
but he is standing shoulder to shoulder to Mark Hamill to me right now, and that was a very hard thing to do. I applaud you, Zack. I want more. We all want more. We need more.
Yeah.
I hope.
Now. My score. I'm going to give this score a 9 out of 10 bats. And my reason why I did not give it a perfect score, I'm gonna look at it together of like comic book, well, not comic book, just like DC fan and I guess a little bit of the comics and also just film. What threw me off for me getting a perfect score was some of the music selection. If there's something big about me when I'm watching movies and certain scenes, certain music set the tone of scene, of scenes in a movie. So if you're watching horror, you need to have the little spooky music. If you're having like intense drama, action, whatever it may be, even the heartfelt moments, there's got to be that music playing in the background that sets the tone. And there was, like I said, there was just certain song selection. I did like the Flash one when he saved Ivory, but you didn't like it, Lucas. But
I
there
didn't.
was just one.
It was weird, but I liked it.
Yeah, there was just ones in there that it was just like, and you bring up that's Zack Snyder, but if you look at Watchmen, 300, and Batman v Superman, I think the music selection was better. I don't know what happened here.
Right.
So I don't think that was Zack Snyder's.
I don't mean
that is part of his universe. I mean, that's part of him, with the cinematic, scene.
Artsy. It was artsy.
Artsy, yeah.
Right.
But
I don't mean to interject, but that was Junkie XL did the music, and they had previously collaborated with Hans Zimmer, and they'd had other, like Danny Elfman did the music for the Justice League.
Wasted.
So you've had really, really legendary composers working on this. This guy, he would use, like, whenever he used the Superman theme, it didn't hit as hard as Hans, who had a full scale orchestra. This was all like, felt like it was thrown together on the computer in a few weeks, except for Wonder Woman.
But I will give Zach on that one. But Wonder Woman, the little new like Amazonian, it gave me the chills. I was like, wow, this fits Wonder Woman. So I'll give him that. But it's like, how do you go from that to all the other scenes? And like I said, Watchmen, 300, all these other movies that he's directed and he's been in, like, doing the music, it's all been beautiful. So why it was off in this movie, I don't know. The other thing I'm gonna
budgeting reasons, probably.
Yeah. The other thing that I'm gonna ding on points is I felt like as much as we all love the nightmare scene, I felt like it was forced at the end of the movie because it was kind of like if he would have, I don't know where he could have fit that scene. I still wanted that in the movie, but it just felt forced because it's like have the epilogue of Cyborg's father. He finally plays the part where he's like, okay, now I'm going to talk to you as a father, and all of that was just beautiful. And if it would have just ended there, it would have been a perfect ending. I'm not saying that wasn't a perfect ending, but it just kind of like that ended, and then it led to the Lex Luthor scene, and then it led to and I'm just like, it
was all his setup because of how grand he was planning on making these movies. He stated that his 3-part Justice League plan was Lord of the Rings level of world building style movies. So
why was Batman having these dreams in the first place, though?
Because he's connected to the death of Lois Lane in the future if it's not stopped. Clearly.
Oh, that clears it up.
Well, I mean, it's
so he keeps getting vision. So clearly, he has
Does
some
Batman have fortune teller powers. Like what the heck is going on there? I thought it was Barry in Batman vs Superman showing that to him, and then he woke up and Barry was there. So I never understood where the nightmare.
Barry said it perfectly. Whenever I go light speed, weird things happen to time.
Yeah.
So we don't know the side effects. Maybe that's something that would have gotten explained later on in the movies.
Yeah.
But he filmed this movie as if it was going to continue because that's what he had it planned to do. He wasn't going to.
If the ending had been the Cyborg thing, and then with the mid credits was the Lex Luthor, and then the end credits was the nightmare scene, would have been a little bit better paced. Because you could have.
Okay. I agree with that actually.
But there is no credits like that.
Yeah.
So we keep cutting you off because you keep bringing up stuff we talked about before. So
it's all good stuff. I mean, you're not like cutting them off, and I'm like, how dare you guys? You're keep taking away my time to shine. No, I mean, we're all agreeing like with the music because I'm bringing up good points. You guys are just giving your feedback. The music, that scene, and other than that, I gotta throw it in there. I love the Batman scenes. They felt like Batman. Batman was like actual help. He was helping them. And he was doing a lot of like Batman stuff, and I love that he was not just. I love that he just wasn't just like using like, I don't know, I guess little simple tools, like the fact that he's taking their technology and using it against them. That's Batman.
That's Batman.
Yep. Yeah, he made me appreciate more of the Flash. Like I love the Flash, and the fact that he's showing his powers, and like I know like he could have done better, but just to see him messing with time travel. Beautiful, because that's one of the things that I love about the Flash is the time traveling part. That's what makes him interesting.
He's faster than fast. He's faster than fast.
Yeah. And so, and then the Wonder Woman scenes and the music was great. I love Steppenwolf, so everything ties into just being great. But like there were just little things that I can't give it a perfect score. At the end of the day, there's no perfect movie. I guess if you look at it, it just doesn't matter if it's Marvel, DC, I don't know. A chick flick, there's no perfect movie. But this was what, as a DC fan, a superhero fan, this is what we needed, and it's a masterpiece. We got it.
And thank Zack, it didn't end with Flash racing Superman.
Yeah, it didn't end with that. Yeah, to see who was faster. Yeah, so. If anyone that's still watching, watch this movie, but also watch the other movies to understand this. But
what's something we didn't talk about was Darkseid. We actually didn't talk about Darkseid, and that was one of the main things people were going bonkers over, and I was one of them.
Oh, you know what? Can I just let me throw this in real quick, because I threw this in here and it was my favorite. One of my favorite things, and then we'll end it here. And anyone that's still watching, you'll love this because it was just epic. If we're gonna talk about the characters coming together and everything, I think this. Right after this.
So clean, so fresh, and so clean.
Karma was so funny. She's like, she didn't cut his head off, did she?
And he was like, "Oh, his head's off."
And then it's like Zack doesn't stop there, and he adds this, and then just to see Darkseid. Now if we're talking about Darkseid, to see the look, the breathing. It was just, I mean, all of that. I mean, that's a whole.
I can't get over how similar that character looks with the hood to the guy from Ready Player One, but I digress.
Yeah, that's just that. If we're gonna talk about that's another thing that I loved that was in there, was that the teamwork, because compared to Joss Whedon, this was beautiful. This was just like, this is them all getting a little piece of the bad guy, and I love that it was Wonder Woman to top it off, the cherry on top. But anyway,
to you guys, if Darkseid comes back, if they keep this going, would you want them to recast him as like a higher caliber actor?
Nope, I really would. I am fine.
I'm fine. Perfectly
well,
fine.
Does he always have glowing eyes?
Yes, that's the difference between the God scene and the Darkseid. So in God scene,
he's have a higher caliber actor. Then give me his eyes so I can see how he's feeling. Because if he's always angry, then he's no nuance.
He has no feelings. That's the point of
terrible villain. That's a terrible villain.
Is how we don't have to have. His whole purpose is to kill and control all life. There's no bigger motivation for him. He is the end all. Is
he someone's father? Is he Batman's father? Like,
no.
Then he's just not interesting at all to me. because other than the way he looked, like his powers are cool, but like him as a villain, yeah.
Here's what I'm gonna say. Like, okay, Justin, you're saying you kind of want to see.
I think he
eyes.
deserves a well actor. That's all I'm saying.
Is that when it comes to reading people's emotions, it's also about body language. So to see, like you're saying, bringing up the eyes, you don't need to see his eyes because you just look at his face and the breathing. Look at
No, it's good there, but like give me
someone
really awesome as an actor so I can get celebrated as they actually paid somebody money to portray a character in a way that is going to be satisfying instead of just a bull going. Urgh.
I don't know the
dark side.
Yeah,
I feel some kind of way when it comes to Darkseid. All right, so Joker and Darkseid are my two favorite villains of all time, and the fact that they were in the same movie together blew me away. The fact that Darkseid is the most one of the most comic book accurate portrayals of a character I've seen. Beautiful.
Yeah. So that's my thoughts, and we didn't get to talk about Darkseid, but that scene I just love. I love that scene. It was epic. Beautiful.
All the Darkseid scenes were beautiful, man.
Yeah, and all the Darkseid scenes were just beautiful and great movie. You have to go watch it. I had fun talking with you guys. We did lose Carla early because of sleep.
This was great, and I hate that Carla had to leave, but this was amazing.
It was.
I'm gonna hate myself in the morning, but I did it anyway.
I don't know how many podcasts you've listened to and how many hells, but you've never listened to us like this. Not us united.
Right.
I was definitely about it tonight, guys.
Yeah, I was. Like that was good. That's Bruce Wayne right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, you guys, if you haven't hit that thumbs up, do so before we end it. Thank you. I appreciate you. I'm pretty sure probably the only one left in here in this chat is Katrina. If not anyone else, I appreciate you for watching, for making it this far, for listening to us, geek it out, nerd talk about this movie. And we will do it again next Sunday. Hopefully on time. We had technical issues. More on my side because Disney, I'm just going to say Disney has some problems with internet. But anyways, I'll leave it there. But yeah, I will, I guess, reveal the topic for next Sunday tomorrow because we're kind of giving the of what it's going to be. And but yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you guys, like always.
Thank you, Justin, for joining us once again.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Give me
more. We'll see if we can pencil you in a couple more. I know Star Wars is one, so we'll see about that. But
Godzilla and Kong.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Godzilla.
Oh, we got so if we keep going with the schedule we established last week or whenever that was for Raya, it feels like a long time ago. We're doing Mortal Kombat, Godzilla versus Kong.
Well, Godzilla and Kong will be later.
And Godzilla and Kong, March 31st is when it comes out. I don't know when we'll see it, but maybe the following Sunday. Have a good night, Katrina.
Good night.
And then Mortal Kombat in April.
Yep.
And I guess we'll go from there. I don't know what other content I'd be involved with, but not Disney related unless it's a movie.
Here's the thing: if there's a movie that comes out that we know you enjoy or want to talk about,
I'm the movie guy.
You will be in the show. You will be invited, and
so I'll be around, folks.
Yeah, you'll be around.
You ain't going away.
You'll be around. But yeah, I appreciate it, you guys, and always remember to be yourself. Unless you can be Batman, then
be Batman.
Always be Batman. See ya.
Bye.